Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Boom Buck and Blue podcast. It is election eve. I'm not going to ask you who you guys are voting for because that's none of my damn business, nor is it anybody else's. But either way, it's tomorrow. So we're going over the election. I'm kidding. We're not going over the election.
No, we're not talking politics. We don't do that. We're going to talk. So it's funny. Originally when I was sitting here thinking about our podcast this week, and I was seeing it was a little bit minus obviously your guys' game, and we're going to get your guys' game, but we're going to talk your game last because I don't want to go over on that we don't hit everything else. So we're going to talk your game last. All right. But I was like, this was kind of a little boring week because the SEC has been pretty boring lately. It's Alabama and everybody else, and it's not even freaking close. So the SEC, but then I thought about it. Probably biggest upset of the year so far: Michigan State over Michigan.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Ross, you were really down on Michigan 2 weeks ago, and I was like, hey, they might be better than what people think. I'm sure Harbaugh's got some recruits and everything, and they looked great week one, and then week two they kind of laid an egg.
I told Jimmy, I think it's a combo. I think Michigan's not as good as they showed week one, and Michigan State with 7 turnovers is not as bad as they showed week one.
Right,
I think it's more of a middle road.
Yeah, and they talked about that during the game. They said, they asked the Michigan State coach, how did your guys do today? And he's like, to be honest, it wasn't as bad. 7 turnovers. You take 3 of those turnovers away, they win the game.
They win the game running away. I'm sure if they don't have 3 turnovers.
Yeah. So and he said, obviously we have stuff to clean up. 7 turnovers is I don't know if any team in the world has ever won a game with 7 turnovers, but I can't
think of another team that's had 7 turnovers.
I mean, Michigan got kind of exposed. I was kind of high on Milton there after week one. Maybe I didn't look at the tape hard enough, but it doesn't look like he really stretches the field. He's got legs. He's got an arm. Seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. He doesn't make mistakes, but he just doesn't seem to stretch it,
He's not a superstar. He's not a Justin Fields or a Spencer Rattler or Mac Jones, who we haven't really talked about from Alabama, and that dude's a stud.
Yeah, honestly. I looked up his numbers today and just
he's unreal. But I mean, he's good enough to get the job. He's a typical Michigan quarterback. He's going to get the job done.
I'll give him a little bit of a break because we did talk week one about how many players they lost, and they did lose almost every single wide receiver that they had on that team, and maybe that's going to hurt them later in the year. You never know. Some of these guys might turn out to be good wide receivers. Give them more time, but I don't think Michigan's done yet. I mean, they lost a rivalry game against their little brothers, but.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, from what I saw, granted, it's the game when it's way down the road and lots of football, but from what I saw, I've seen through 2 weeks of Big Ten football, Michigan's not going to even sniff Ohio State in that game.
No, I don't think anyone will.
I mean, Penn State, Michigan might be kind of interesting because both your guys' quarterbacks are
As bad as Penn State played this week, I think that is probably the toughest game that Ohio State's going to have all year.
Well, probably. Absolutely, probably.
And that game was 13, which damn, they almost covered the point spread there. But
looking forward to my gift basket.
That would give me a gift basket, so we'll get that out to him soon. But
but so super weird. I want to bring this up because I mean, obviously, we're still 2 weeks in. Wisconsin didn't play, but they were through for God knows how many yards, and they're a power running team. Michigan State has not been really known for throwing the ball a lot, and Rocky Lombardi can sling the rock through for 323 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, so it's kind of interesting. I mean, obviously, Ohio State's been moving this way for a while, kind of like the throwing the ball more, not as power. You guys do have power running game, but you're more a spread it out finesse kind of running.
In the
kind of like OU.
Yeah.
Kind of like an OU offense. Penn State, depending on your quarterback, like when you had Trace, you were more that way. So it's kind of interesting seeing we'll see how, again, we're only 2 weeks in, so let's not read too much into it. Yep. But, I mean, it's kind of looking like some of these offenses are kind of going that way to the more throw the ball a little bit more and not running the ball 60 times and throwing the ball 10 times.
That's the nature of college football these days, right? Yep. Because you look at Heisman Trophy winners that have won in the past at the quarterback or the running back position, right? You've got Mark Ingram, who I don't know what his final numbers were, but it wasn't a whole lot of rushing yards when he won his Heisman. Now you've got 3 guys. We had 3 running backs who ran for over 2,000 yards last year, and none of them were even close to finishing in the top when it came to Heisman runners.
Yeah,
And
Chuba didn't even get invited, and we thought first of all, I thought he got robbed by not getting invited. I didn't think he was going to win, but the fact that Chuba had like 2,400 yards didn't do it. But yeah, it's
and at the quarterback position too.
And like, granted, it's on a quieter team, but the running back with the most yards going into or after last week in the Power 5 is Breece Hall from Iowa State. He's got 901 yards and 14 touchdowns, and nobody's talking about him.
Did they lose?
Nobody. No, they won. They played Kansas.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And they just smacked the crap out of them.
Can I give you a little rundown here? Troy Smith, who previous to, I believe, Kyler Murray, had won the Heisman Trophy with the highest amount of differential, like the highest amount of first place votes.
Okay.
Kyler now has it. Do you know what his numbers were for the year that he won the Heisman?
They weren't spectacular, were they?
So 30 touchdowns, which is good. 6 interceptions, very good.
Hold on a second. 30 touchdowns nowadays is average.
Yeah, I'm getting there, man. 30 touchdowns is still good, right?
It's still good. Yeah, it's not bad.
He had 2,542 yards. That's it.
How many rushing yards do you have?
And it's even rushing. He only had his senior year 228.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
Who the hell? Who else was up for the running that year?
Let's see. What's the Arkansas running back? He was on the cover of NCAA.
Darren McFadden.
It was him, and I can't remember who else.
Because I thought he had a spectacular senior year.
Yeah, but I don't think it translated to wins.
Well,
good old Run DMC, huh?
He was incredible.
Cowboys run. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so the Big Ten's kind of moving away from, like, when we don't know, looking like they're moving away from the power, which I think is a little interesting. Obviously, and your guys' game, like I said, we're going to talk about it. That game was obviously interesting. Other than that, Rutgers or Indiana looks like, I mean, granted they played Rutgers, but I mean, they scored 37 points. Like, Indiana might be pretty damn good this year.
Yeah.
Which I think's, well, we talked about, our kind of surprise teams for the Big Ten that we had. I don't think any of us said Indiana.
I did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, Indiana was, I mean, I heard a lot about Indiana going into week 1 because they're playing Penn State the first week, and a lot of people were saying, like, these might be the 2 best offense. I mean, and granted, Indiana's offense looked like shit against Penn State. Both teams looked like shit, and Indiana just snuck one out at the end. Controversially, but I'll whatever.
We're never going to hear the end of this. Never going to hear the end of that one.
Listen, I'm on Ryan's side of that one. I don't think.
Yeah, but people say, I mean, that might be the second best offense that Penn State plays this year, especially looking at Michigan, the way that Michigan played this week. You know, their offense did not look dynamic, but
no,
right.
Yeah, Indiana's. I guess you could say surprising, turning some heads and stuff.
I think so. They're turning my head. I didn't think, because Indiana, I think basketball, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can almost flip Indiana and Minnesota from last year. Like, Minnesota is not looking good. I mean,
first off, Minnesota's offense does not look bad. Their defense might be they would be the worst defense in the Big 12. I'll put it that way. Minnesota's defense would be the worst defense in the Big 12. Other kind of things. Jim, you brought it up. I've been talking about it, and you kind of brought it up a little bit Saturday. I think Cincinnati's for real. I think Cincinnati's legit. I think they're for real, and
I think they're going to make the playoffs, especially and get thumped by 60.
Yeah, exactly. Well, probably. But with Oklahoma State losing, that pretty much puts the Big 12. I mean, unless like craziness happens, which is possible, the Big 12's out of the college football playoff. The Pac-12 we're going to see because they're only going to play like 3 games. So who the hell knows? Cincinnati's sitting at 6.
That is insane.
Yeah, they're
sitting at 6 ahead of Texas A&M, Florida, Wisconsin. Oh my, just insane.
Yeah, and I mean, granted, they do have some tough games left. I mean, Houston this week, we'll see. They do still have to go to UCF. They do have to go to Tulsa, and then they're going to have the championship game. So they're not out of the weeds, and they're not like cruising to an undefeated season by any means. They got some tough games. However, I mean, so far you want to talk about
dominance.
Yeah, taking care of business. Like, whew, I thought the Memphis game might be a little close, and it was 49-10. Like, it was a mollywhopping.
It is just a matter of time, and I know there were teams calling for Luke Fickell to be the new head coach at their Power 5 organization.
Well,
Michigan State in particular.
Well, we talked about it too. If Texas decides to go away from Tom Herman, Luke Fickell's name would be one that I'm sure they would at least take a look at.
They're going to have to back up the truck because that man he's an Ohio boy through and through. He loves this state, and that's not even a question. But if he's making a business decision financially,
I was about to say, you want to say Texas won't shell out money for a coach? Oh, they pay out.
I didn't say they wouldn't. I was just saying.
Yeah. So I think they're for real. I think there's a bunch of non-Power 5 teams that are pretty good. I mean, Cincinnati, BYU, SMU's good. They lost a game to Cincy, but I think there's a couple of teams that are good.
There's the parity in that whole American Athletic is really good.
Yeah, it's fun. And, like it used to be like just trash football. You put it on whatever. Now, if you're getting a Cincinnati or UCF or something, like I'll watch a football game. Like actually sit down and pay attention. Like it's fun football. It's not trash like it used to be. So that's fun. Side note. So also moving on, real quick. Y'all's thought on Clemson without Lawrence?
I think they're still good. Personally, they're still Clemson. They still have Etienne. They still have their linemen. They still have their wide receivers.
It took him a half to figure out how to play football again. I'm not going to even try to say his name, but it looks like
Ugalagi or something like that.
So
we're going to call him Uggs.
I saw a video on how he pronounces it. It was him, and he goes, Ui Ungalele.
Okay, so we're going to call him Uggs.
I'm going to call him DJ Ukulele.
I'm just calling him Uggs.
So let's give him a
6,000 yards his high school senior year.
That was a close game. That was a close game against Boston College, but
that's 2 games in a row. The Syracuse with Lawrence, Syracuse gave them a run for their money. Like, granted, they pulled away in the last quarter, but it was a 7-point game in the third quarter against Syracuse.
I think Clemson's
and both of these games were at Death Valley. That's at home. Now they're about to go on the road to Notre Dame.
Yeah,
without their leader. So not only the quarterback, but he is their leader.
You brought it up. You brought it up last week, and it was right when we got disconnected from the recording, right? And we had our intermission.
Oh, yeah.
You had said Dabo Swinney was in his press conference.
Yeah.
And they were asking him questions about why they were struggling and all this other kind of stuff. And he's like, am I in the wrong press room? And here's something that I'm going to notice between Nick Saban and Dabo Swinney. And granted, Nick Saban's the greatest college football head coach of all time. Easy question, no doubt.
Right.
And I honestly think it's because he can come out and he can say, there are a lot of things that we can work on. Dabo Swinney's going to revel in the win, right? And granted, they won big, but I think they might be sleepwalking into games. I don't think they're going to sleepwalk into Notre Dame, but I think they're sleepwalking into games that they think they should be blowing the other team out, a la Syracuse and Boston College.
And I believe this. I believe him getting the start against Boston College, showing some rust I wouldn't even call it rust. I mean, like he hasn't played in a big game. He has never started a game. He's young and early, like it's early in his career. Him coming out with a slow start doesn't worry me too much. If he's able to come back and say, he threw for 342 with 2 touchdowns.
I was going to say, say start slow. He still threw for 300 plus yards. And then I think he threw for 2 touchdowns. He ran for like 60 yards and a touchdown. So he had like 380 yards and 3 touchdowns, and that's knocking rust off.
Yeah. So he might be comfortable going into Notre Dame. I mean, obviously it's Notre Dame's a different animal than Boston College, but would not be surprised if Clemson gets it figured out by Saturday.
Well, and I think also, they figured out about Lawrence, on Thursday night?
It was like Thursday or Friday. It was pretty late.
So that's not a lot of time to change a game plan. I'm pretty sure against Notre Dame, they're going to lean on ETN a lot more. So they have time now to move or change their game plan more of a run heavy, which when you only got 24 hours, it's like, fuck it, you better get this game plan down because
like I said, it took them a half, and how many points did they score in the second half? I mean, they were down by,
They were down by 18 at the half.
Yeah, that was like, well, I remember when I checked that score. I mean, it was one of those things, you don't expect it to stick. And no offense to Boston College, but I was like, Clemson's going to turn it on. So they scored 21 points in this. They outscored Boston College 21-0 in the second half.
Yeah. The defense, they probably lean on that defense. I saw is it the Brian Breezy kid, the one that Penn State?
Oh yeah, the DN.
I think did he have a safety or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think that game, Clemson Notre Dame, obviously. I mean, it's number 1 versus number 4. It's not a hot take to say that's going to be a good game this week.
Mm-hmm.
I think if
it's going to be a good game.
I think it's going to be a good game. I will watch it. I'm not going to lie. If Lawrence was playing, I probably wouldn't watch it that much because probably they're going to probably Notre Dame might keep it close, but at the end, Clemson's going to run away with it by 14, 21 points, something like that, and I probably wouldn't watch it. But with a freshman quarterback against the experienced Notre Dame, I'm like, I'll put it on and watch a couple quarters and see how Notre Dame's looking and how this kid's looking, and if it's a blowout, I'll change the channel. But I think it's going to be interesting.
That's game of the year so far, right?
Of course it would be. Of course it would be on the same time as the Ohio State.
Ratings-wise, well, no, because Alabama, Georgia.
Oh yeah, that's up there.
Yeah,
Georgia was.
That was a big one.
Fifth or...
Yeah, I think there's something. I don't know, but
they were in the top. I want to say there were 3 or 4. They're up there for sure. It's a top 5. It's a top 5 matchup. It's good football.
I just hope that this is. I don't know. I haven't heard anyone talk about this. I haven't heard anyone say anything about. And I mentioned this earlier in different podcasts. But would Notre Dame stay in the ACC? Like
they should.
What contract do they have with NBC? What is all the
stupid money?
It's an exclusive NBC. They're the only college football game on NBC.
But wouldn't it? I mean, this would be great to see. And I know Notre Dame plays Clemson. Is it every other year or every 4 years? Or
yeah,
they play a handful of ACC
regularly
games,
now.
Right?
Yeah. So 5.
Well, I'll say first off, now that we're onto the college football playoff, Notre Dame, granted they're still under contract, but they have a lot more incentives to leave. When we had the BCS, Notre Dame had a deal with the BCS since they weren't in any conference because we had every conference had what game they were going to go to. They had a deal with the BCS. It was if Notre Dame finished in the top 10 of the BCS, they got a top 4 bowl regardless.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm you don't even have to be one of the top 8 teams, and win your conference. As long as I finish in the top 10, I'm going to get the Orange Bowl or Rose Bowl or one of them, which is obviously a huge money pull. But now that we're on the college football playoff, I mean, I don't think as long as Notre Dame, and I don't see anything changing it, but as long as they just have the name Notre Dame and they got them gold helmets, I mean, they get ranked so high playing nobody because they're Notre Dame, and nobody gives a rat's ass.
For the fans, including myself, I'd love to see Notre Dame battling Clemson. And I mean, because right now the ACC's Clemson and everybody else. Which sucks, but it's almost the way Big Ten's going now. It's Ohio State and everyone else. And I mean, this year it's almost Alabama and everyone else. It's like these conferences are one team. It's you're going to have the same guys in there. I'd love to see ACC with more parity, and I think Notre Dame would help that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so Georgia, Alabama, by the way, was 2 versus 3.
There you go. Yeah. Probably the biggest game.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, and I don't see. I mean, granted, it's money, but Notre Dame plays in the ACC in basketball. And I'm not sure about baseball and other sports, but I know they do in basketball, and they're doing it this year. And there's some great games. We have Notre Dame, Miami's possibilities, Notre Dame, Florida State, Clemson. I think them joining the ACC, it's boosts the ACC like crazy because we've been talking about it for a little bit. They're dying for a number 2 team. The ACC, they're dying for a number 2 team, and Notre Dame would give them that. Which I think would help their strength of schedule. Granted, Clemson doesn't give a shit right now because they just mow over everybody and just mosey on to the college football playoff, which must be nice. But yeah, I still got.
I want to disagree.
Oh, okay.
I actually want to disagree on this one.
Hot take.
And it's not necessarily a hot take. It's just a personal preference. I do agree with you that if Notre Dame joins the ACC, it boosts the ACC, and you've got a Notre Dame Clemson game every year, Notre Dame Miami game every year. That's fine, but you're also missing out on the flexibility that Notre Dame has had to go into bigger games, right? You
wouldn't
lose
see
the Notre Dame
USC
USC
every year. Yeah.
You lose Notre Dame Michigan, which is already gone because of that whole Notre Dame agreement with the ACC.
Well, but you don't. I mean,
you could still get those games every other year. You won't have Notre Dame USC.
You're not getting USC and Notre Dame Michigan in the same year.
Right.
Which, I mean, USC ain't doing much to.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong.
No, I understand that, but it's, I'm looking
at
it as a college football historian, who appreciates great, classic rivalries of the past.
I totally understand what you. Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying, Jim. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Notre Dame USC is a fun rivalry. But I mean, it's not up there with the Triple R. It's not up there with the game. It's not up there with the Iron Bowl. A bunch of these other rivalries. Like if I didn't get Notre Dame USC, I wouldn't throw a hissy fit.
Especially when USC's in the dumpster. Okay. I mean, if USC ends up being, I mean, that's another one. I'm still waiting for USC to be good again. College football is a way better place to be when. I was
really excited. I was really excited when Cliff Kingsbury was going to be their offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
and he
and then he's like,
he had that job for a week. Yeah, he was like, I'm done. Yeah, no, I mean, as much as I hate them, though, but yeah, Texas and USC, when those two teams are good, it's better for college football.
Yeah,
it's better for college football. So moving on from the ACC, Big 12, probably like we're out of the college football playoff, but granted, I am biased, but right now, like taking the national championship, by the way, we might be the most interesting conference on who the hell is going to get to the Big 12 championship.
I agree.
Because we've got 4 teams we have 5 teams. Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, and Texas, all at and West Virginia. We'll throw them in there. All either with 1 or 2 losses, and still 4 games to go. Kansas State is 4 away. I'm going to take them out of the running. Mm-hmm. They lost their quarterback, Skylar Thompson, who when they played OU and beat OU, I mean, I think he had 360 total yards and 3 like it's not like a slouch quarterback. They got rid of their star. And I mean it showed, like, no offense to West Virginia, they're better than people were thinking, but West Virginia mopped the floor with them. And Kansas State still got to play Iowa State, Oklahoma State, and Texas in their 3 of their last 4 games. So kind of taking them out of that, but
that's not even like super duper, like it's just a grind.
Yeah,
can we say it, like Oklahoma is the best team in that conference? Like over 2 weekends went by and they're back to being the best.
The way they're playing now. Yeah. The best team in the Big 12 is in Oklahoma.
Yes, I will give you that, because Oklahoma State, I mean, they lost to Texas. They pulled the ultimate Aggie. You damn Cowboys. Granted, it's I just couldn't pull myself to root for Texas, but Texas beating Oklahoma State does help Oklahoma chances to get back to the Big 12 championship. But they went to overtime against Texas, had a 13-point lead in the third quarter, and had 4 turnovers.
Yep.
Like, you idiots. Like, just keep, like, and some of them are stupid.
Ellinger did it again, man.
He did. But yeah. I was looking at it. So looking at left, if like I posted last night, if Oklahoma beats Oklahoma State in Bedlam, which it's in Norman this year, and Texas beats Iowa State, and then those 4 teams win the rest of their games, then we're going to have a 4-way tie for first place in the Big 12.
I tell you what, you guys are cannibalizing each other.
Oh, we are.
It's very interesting.
Which, if that happens, then the tiebreaker, goes head to head. Granted, there's 4 teams, so head to head's out. So then it goes to total win-loss record against everybody else tied, which would make the Oklahoma Sooners 2-1, and they'd be in it, and the Texas Longhorns at 2-1, and we got OU Texas in the Big 12 championship again. So that would be a lot of fun. I mean, that first one, about, like I said, it knocked 10 years off my life. And
now you get a game with Spencer Rattler that plays two full halves,
Yeah, well,
exactly.
We were talking about it before. Like, Ryan, you said you get it now, and granted, I haven't watched him for a while. Yeah, that kid he's special. He is special.
So off earlier this week or earlier today, I messaged Ross and I said I watched the highlights from that Oklahoma Texas Tech game, and yeah, it's Texas Tech and defense.
Right. You have to take that into consideration. I get it.
Yeah. Watching Spencer, the ball come out of Spencer Rattler's hand it doesn't look normal. I was telling Ross, I don't know how to word it, but it doesn't look normal. Like I watched him throw a couple passes where I'm like, oh, those are 15-yard passes. And it leaves his hand. And I'm like, oh, that's going 50 yards, not 15.
Like, it's a frozen rope, 45 yards. And you're like,
yeah, it's not a quarterback that winds up. It just there's a flick of a wrist and the ball is just gone. And
yeah. And he throws the ball so well on the run. When he's moving, he throws the ball so well.
And that's not just a cool thing. That's not just like, hey, I throw the ball effortlessly. There you go. Thanks, guys.
Damn it, I even said it wrong.
So it's not there when it comes to I'm the best quarterback guru of all time, but obviously he is there's got to be something there where the ball comes out so quick and he's saving arm motion and it comes out technically there's something there that's so sound that the ball just comes out that good.
With the zip.
Yeah, it's
I don't know, man, but yeah, it's got to be something.
I can say that, these guys, these high-end high school kids, these the high-end, the top-tier quarterbacks, they're going to camps. They're not doing what college quarterbacks used to do back in the day during the offseason was, just hang out and be college students. These guys are they have aspirations for NFL. So what are they doing? They're working out. They're going to camps.
What is it, the Elite 11? Is
what
that
I was trying
called?
to say is because the ball comes out so good, he can work on accuracy and technique and all that. He's got the base, you know what I mean? And everything else will just come along. And it's it's almost like Aaron Rodgers does the same thing. The ball, Aaron Rodgers throws a ball not too many people in the league have ever done.
The nonchalant 80-yard bomb.
Yeah, it's casual and it's calm and it's smooth and he just focuses on accuracy because he knows when he flicks the wrist, it's the velocity's there, the distance is there. It's you can really just zone in. Yeah, you can just zone in on the other stuff, I guess. But
yeah, he's fun to watch.
Oklahoma is going to be tough to beat the rest of the year.
I agree.
I'm sold.
Yeah,
and they got their running backs back.
Yeah, we got a running back in Ramondre Stevenson. Like I said, I was talking to you earlier, Jimmy. And it's really a bummer. First off, he's 6 foot, 250 pounds. If you haven't watched the dude run, he's a bowling ball. He was the number one JUCO back in the country that OU got. Last year was his first year.
Where did he go to JUCO?
I would have to look it up, actually. He played last year. Grant Kennedy Brooks was running the ball, who's over 1,000-yard rusher for 3 years. So I mean, he played sparingly, but he's your power back, Ryan.
He's your goal line back. Yeah,
I mean, you're talking about Ryan. You watch the highlights, and you're like, yeah, every touchdown I saw was 1 year. I was like, yeah, because he's 6 foot, 250 pounds. You give him the ball,
stop him?
He's going to score. End of story.
Especially with your offensive line, especially with OU's offensive line playing so much better.
Yeah, so
Spencer Rattler could not be bothered by a pass rush against Texas Tech.
No.
He had half a day to be able to throw the ball.
He was just kind of chilling.
I'm gonna make a sandwich. You guys, you go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody's open. Zip.
Well, and then also it helps that Spencer Rattler can move. And then one of the bigger ones. Don't get me wrong. I love Ramondre Stevenson. Really, really happy he's back. But the biggest one was Ronnie Perkins. He is our defensive end. He's only a junior, 6'3", 250 pounds. Last year, only played, I think it was 6.5 games. Had 13.5 tackles for a loss and 6 sacks in those 6 games. He also was in the same thing. He has not played all year. He did play. I mean, he had 3 tackles, and two of those were tackles for a loss and 1 rush. So he's our big guy to get a push up front. He's our
what is it? The one tech nose guard or defensive tackle?
No, he's a D end.
Oh, D end.
He's the D end that when it's time to pin your ears back.
Okay.
He's the Ronnie Perkins, he's that guy for OU. All right, go. Pin your ears back. Don't worry about somebody running up the middle. Go get him. And a lot of times he does. So getting him back was really big for OU. We still missing Trajan Bridges, wide receiver. he was one of the OU. We had the probably. I don't know. I'm just taking a wild guess. Probably the best recruiting by rankings wide receiver class ever 2 years ago when we had the number 1 wide receiver, number 2 wide receiver, and number 4 wide receiver.
Wow.
Jordan Hazelwood tore his Achilles, and he's out this season. He might be coming back for Bedlam. I have got to watch him sparingly from what coaches say, and granted, you take it with a grain of salt. They say he's like CD Lamb-esque. Like kind of watch him play kind of guy. Hopefully he'll be back. Yeah, that's very good company. Trajan Bridges, he was the number 2, but he got trouble for smoking weed. I get that. But the other 2 guys came back, and they're not saying anything about it. All they're saying is Trajan Bridges' situation is more complicating. That's all they're saying about it, and he has not been cleared to play yet. So we have no earthly idea like what's going on. Even OU country, we have no clue. But yeah, I mean, I'll agree. OU the last 2 weeks looks like the OU I expected with like week 1 when we're talking about college football playoff kind of teams.
Yeah, they're a shoo-in from all 3
yeah,
of us.
This is the OU that I was expecting to see week 1 or week 2.
I'll agree with that. The 2
we're starting to realize those 3 out of conference games pretty damn important.
They are. They're very important. Well, and I think obviously, I told you, Jim, don't wrong. I thought OU was going to get the college football playoff kind of by default because this is I'm not going to say it's not a real season, but with Big Ten starting late, Big 12 or Pac-12 not really playing, people opting out. Like it's a college football season, happy to have it, but it's not real. But next year, of this OU team you're seeing right now, of the starters, we are going to bring back 21 of the 22 starters next year. The only one we lose is our center. So I've always said, next year is the year that I'm going to be like, okay, here we go. This is the year, guys, that if we can't win it, and a bunch of these guys are coming back. But I'm happy with the way OU's playing. I think they got the best chance right now to win a Big 12 championship. It'll be 6 in a row for us. So,
Bedlam's going to be a good game.
Yeah, Bedlam's going to be fun. Bedlam's going to be really fun. It's here in Norman. I gave up my tickets for this year because of COVID, but I might be since my wife went to Oklahoma State, I might sit there and be like, yeah, let's see if we can get a couple tickets to go head off to this game. Other than that, I think we said the SEC's been boring. I mean, it's Alabama.
It's just Alabama.
Georgia's. I'm not gonna say they're trash because they're not, but I mean they beat Kentucky 14-3.
I don't understand why Kirby Smart holds on to certain quarterbacks as much as he does.
I don't know,
because Spencer Bennett is not bad, but I know who is very good, JT Daniels.
Right? Yeah,
and he just won't go with him.
Yeah, and I mean, you said Bennett's not bad, but he's not winning you the SEC good.
No,
right.
No.
So, if
Jake Fromm is not bad.
Yeah,
but he's not winning the SEC good.
No, but you know who is that good? The guy that was behind him, Justin Fields.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing about that. How did they let him go? Listen, Fromm was playing good at that point.
Yeah,
maybe Justin Fields needed more time to figure the game out, and they didn't want to put it because Georgia was good back then, and they had a chance they were fighting for SEC championships, but it was just too early for Justin Fields. But looking back, I mean, obviously that was.
I don't know, because you see him come in, you go into Ohio State, and him have the success that he had.
You just see him step on you just see him step on the field, and you can tell that guy has next level talent all around everything. So.
He's full package. He's we can talk about these quarterbacks all day long, but he's definitely full package. He's got the head on his shoulders. He's got the accuracy. He's got the calmness and the poise and the leadership, and he's got everything, and
the drive and the discipline. I don't know if you guys heard any sort of talk about the whole thing with COVID. He goes, I go to practice, I take my schools online, and I stay home.
Yeah,
he doesn't go anywhere.
Unlike Trevor Lawrence, that dipshit.
Micah Parsons.
I'm sure he probably
not to get into that game yet, but Micah Parsons was tweeting out during the game that
I saw that. I did see that.
Best quarterback.
Well, we got a lot of stuff we got to talk about. So, like, I think we kind of hit everything. So we will get into the game of the week, not just by our standards, because we have a Penn State and Ohio State. It was the big game of the week across the board. Penn State, Ohio State this week. I will tell you, Ryan. I was talking to Jimmy the night before the game. I think it was Friday night, Jim. I was talking to you. I thought it was going to be a lot worse than what the score ended up.
So did I.
I thought it was going to be about a 20 to 30 point slaughtering. I was not sold on Clifford. I'm still not sold on Clifford. I'm still not sold on him. Your running backs hadn't really proved me anything. I know we talk about how they're talented, but to me, until you show it to me on the field, I'm not. I don't believe it.
And they're both out. So I mean,
the whole running back crew.
You were talking about all of them, like a room full of studs.
The room full of them. I will say, granted, he had one big run, but the dude I talked about, Ford, he was your leading rusher for the running back. I still think you need you guys to give him the ball more.
Yeah, I think they're trying to work. 2 weeks ago, our best offense was Clifford running the ball. Clifford had some good runs this week. The whole read option thing, obviously you get to keep him honest. You got to give it to the running back once in a while. And I will stick to my guns on the whole running back room. And coming into this year, that was a really good running back room. But it hinged on Kane and
Jordan to be Brown. Fair, they were running against Ohio State's running defense, which is very good.
Yeah, and Devin Ford's a good supplemental back. He is not the guy that they're supposed to be giving the ball every down. He's a guy that can come in and flash in the third quarter or something like that. But yeah, right now, they are not full of studs in the running back room, and it's just Devin Ford and.
Well, yeah, don't get me wrong. Kind of like you said, granted, we talk about James Franklin not being the best play caller. He is 10-fold. He is 100-fold what any of us three would be in there. So take what I say as a grain of salt. But just to me, taking Clifford away, running the ball. Your running backs only touched the ball 9 times. You have to keep the defense honest, I think, and give your running. Even if you're not getting but 2 yards, you got to give them the ball.
It gets pretty scary. Penn State went for a 4th down. Was it? Yeah. Didn't they have a 4th down play the first quarter? Or they went for a 4th down in their own. Or no, was that the Cowboys game? I'm getting them mixed up.
Cowboys, I think.
But
I know they went for. I'm trying to remember. The only thing that I could think of them trying to go on 4th down, but it wasn't on 4th down. It was trying for 2-point conversion.
Yeah,
they failed two-point conversion.
Not to give him excuses, and obviously Franklin's not calling plays. It's Soraka up in the booth, but it is when you're. Ohio State went out very first play, ran for 60 yards or something like that, and that really set the tone of the game. And then they had 2 passes after that, and they're in the end zone, and it's a minute into the game, and you're down by 7. And I think they did. I think they might have went
early on, mostly rushing.
Yeah, and
I think he threw the ball. I think Justin Fields threw the ball once, maybe twice.
Penn State was down 14-3 very, very quick. And it's tough. I agree with you, Ross. You got to stick with the run, and they did. They tried, and
I don't say stick with it. You just got to do it more than 8 times.
Right.
I think
it's a lot of read option. It's a lot of trying to get Clifford and finding weaknesses in the defense and running the read option and getting what you can get, but.
And that's hard to do. It's hard to run a read option when your offensive line is having fits trying to keep people out of the backfield.
Yeah,
which happened this week.
It's kind of interesting. So your OC is from Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
So because I was wondering, I was like, well, how much? Obviously, last year we talked about Minnesota's quarterback and mostly Bateman, the wide receiver. So I was like, well, we didn't talk about the running game. I was like, well, how much did they run the ball? Maybe that's just not his MO.
He does run the ball.
Yeah, I was like Minnesota last year threw the ball 320 times and ran it 560. So it's not like run the ball is not this dude's MO. He runs the football, and for some reason he just didn't. I get it if it's not working, you can't do it. But you ran Sean Clifford 18 times and only got 5 yards. That wasn't really working either.
Because that factors in all the sacks and yards lost from sacks.
I don't think the rushing yards in ESPN includes sacks.
Okay.
I think it's just
college football does. If you get sacked, it counts as a rushing attempt.
Ohio State's second drive only went 45 yards. I'm pretty sure Penn State on their first drive went for it on 4th down and didn't get it. They knew that we cannot try to play field goals against this team. We got to go out and try to score touchdowns. And I mean, maybe it wasn't the best play call to do that in your own end, do that on your own side of the field.
You went for it on 4th and 2, and it was an incomplete pass.
Yeah, I don't know. So going back to this, my whole total thought of the game is Penn State played better than what I thought. I mean,
I'll agree with that.
I do not think this is a testament to how bad I think the Big Ten is overall. I think Ohio State is just so much better than everybody. But that might be the hardest game that Ohio State plays all year. We'll see what the championship game looks like. I don't know who they're. Depending on what happens with Wisconsin, if Wisconsin can make it to the championship game, that'd be a fun game to watch. But
are they going to play enough games? Jesus Christ!
Yeah, they have to play at least 6.
So on that, Ryan, actually, you bring up a good point. I was actually I kind of skimmed an article that they're talking about of. Don't get me wrong, it's not the team's fault. So they're not blaming Ohio State, they're not blaming Clemson, and they're not blaming Alabama. But Penn State's like, you guys have your run-ins, and you're like you had your 10-2 seasons. You have some good seasons. Like other teams, it's Ohio State and everybody else. ACC is Clemson and everybody else, and the SEC is Alabama and everybody else. And they're like, so it's not the team's fault, but they're like, how good is this for college football? Because I mean, it's not, and there's nothing you could do about it. You're not going to say Ohio State don't be so good. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it, but it's like, man, it's a lot better when there's parity. Like, don't offense, like, I'm loving the Big 12 right now. It sucks we're not in the college football playoff, but holy shit, what's going to happen this year? Like, who's going to beat who? Like, this is going to be fun. Like, I'm going to watch West Virginia, Texas. Why? Because holy shit, we don't know what's going to happen. In the Big 10, I'm like, okay, yeah, Penn State or Ohio State might get upset, but more than likely they're going to steamroll everybody to the college football. And don't get me wrong, once we get to the college football playoff, seeing like Clemson, Ohio State, or like in Alabama, those those are like when you get the super juggernauts up there, those are a lot of fun. Right. But the whole build up, I'm like, yeah, okay, like the Big Ten. I'm more interested. I'm interested in Penn State, Michigan. I'm like, okay,
I think that's gonna be fun. Penn State.
I think it's gonna be a good game.
Obviously, I'm a homer, but I think Penn State probably wins the rest of their games. They might go 6-0 to finish the year and win every game, and get that number 2 spot in the East. And
yeah, I think there's just some games that like are gonna be fun to watch. Like Penn State, Michigan. Is that gonna be for Big Ten a chance at the Big Ten championship? No, but damn, this is gonna be 2 teams that I think are gonna be fun to watch. Yep. They play some good defense, quarterback play. All right, we'll see. But all right, like I think like I will tune in to Penn State. I'll watch more Penn State, Michigan than I will Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah,
because I think Ohio State's gonna absolutely smash the hell out of Michigan.
So good things about the game on my side.
And I'm really looking forward to it.
Jimmy will watch every second.
I will watch
Jimmy's got a lot of good things to say about the game, but Brandon Smith looked good. He looks like the 5-star that we recruited. I think he's on his way to being a game changer at linebacker U, and he's got the oomph. Ross, your boy Jahan Dotson kind of showed up in the second half and turned some heads.
I know he can catch the ball.
He's good. The only thing I feel because the kid is talented. He showed it. Obviously, he's like athletic with that. That one head catch was just ridiculous on the sideline. Yeah. The catch before that was just as good. Yeah. And the poor guy doesn't have a fucking dog with 3 legs to throw him the damn ball, which is too bad. Like get the guy a good quarterback. Like give him Trace McSorley. I'm sure that dude has a freaking fantastic season. Granted, he is a junior. He's got next year too, so we'll see. But like seeing him strut his stuff and show off his talent, and then I see what talent's behind center. I'm like, oh, poor kid.
And the 2 catches that he made. I mean, they were. It's not like Clifford just threw it on a dime or whatever. Those are jump balls. He's not a big, tall wide receiver. He's not like a jump ball guy. He just out.
And that's against Sean Wade, who's one of the best cornerbacks in the country. Yeah, and he's not small.
Yeah, he embarrassed him.
Sean Wade is big.
2 catches in a row kind of made him look silly. And I mean, that's there are some good things that Penn State has going from that game. And to be honest, I know it doesn't feel like that game was that close, but Penn State had a chance to like. They're late in the fourth quarter. I'm like, holy shit, this is 2016 all over again. They've hung around. They get a big touchdown to Dotson, and then they almost turned it into a 1-score game. I think they were down by 10 at that point, and it's like, all right, defense, go out and get a stop. We'll turn this into a 3-point game. And it just didn't happen, And I mean, the offense in the second half did click, and Jahan Dotson had over 180 yards and 3 touchdowns. And
Penn State outscored Ohio State in the second half.
Yeah, it's
17-19.
But yeah, that's
not good. I will say this, my last point on this. It wasn't good complementary football. Like, when the defense looked good, the offense looked like shit. When the offense looked good, the defense looked like shit.
Yeah.
If you put it together in the second half, like that game might.
Right. Like, so to me, like, granted, I was like, oh, he was playing at the same time. So, but I was going back and forth. But like you said, Ryan, like the complementary football, like when you're at Penn State and you need to beat an Ohio State, like, you gotta pile together the good. And I would see like Ohio, like Penn State scored. I'm like, okay, here we go. And then every time Penn State scored, Ohio State went and scored.
Right.
Or every time that they stopped, like, or every time that you stopped them for a punt, they would stop you for a punt. Like, it wasn't like a touchdown, stop Ohio State, get the ball back, and then you're like, oh shit, okay, now we have a chance to string some stuff together. But every time that you guys punched, Ohio State counterpunched after their initial, they jumped out to a big lead, and then after that, they pretty much just counterpunched it to the end. Like, you score, they'd score. You'd stop, they'd stop. Score, and there was just, you can't come back obviously from that.
I'll finish on that. Like, I think that Penn State's better team than what I thought they were. Like, I'm with you, Ross. I thought Penn State was going to lose by 20 or 30 points. Like, I just thought they'd go in and get steamrolled, but especially not having the white out there and all that stuff. And that does make a difference no matter what everyone says.
It does.
Urban Meyer said that's usually about a 7 to 10 point swing.
Yeah. I mean, that closes that gap pretty quick. And I'm proud of the way they played, and it sucks saying that in a loss, but I mean, they showed that they can, as down as they are this year, losing the 2 running backs and losing Micah Parsons and all these things that happened, like in the first year offensive coordinator, they were better than what I thought they'd be. I thought they'd go in there and get mollywopped, but they didn't. And I mean, now I get to look forward to the season. I talked to my wife about this. It's like, it's almost a stress-free season for me now. It's like, okay, you got the 2 losses out of the way. You're 0-2. It's like, I'm not expecting to go to the playoffs. I'm not expecting to win the Big Ten. Like,
that's what I was at. That was right. That's what we got. Well, okay, so Jimmy, we're gonna get to Ohio State here in a second.
I was about to say, can we talk about Ohio State yet, or what?
I got lots to say about Ohio State, so don't get me wrong. One question I have for you, Ryan, because we talked about it, and you said it. Talk about Sean Clifford. I don't think this guy. Who's next in line then?
So, you know what the real answer is? It's Bo Pribula, who's a senior in high school right now.
Okay, well, like for this year, like, is there like a freshman or sophomore quarterback that? I mean, you're 0-2. Don't get me wrong. Season's not over by any means. I mean, you still got a lot to play for. You can still very much win out. Like you said, possibly get into very possibly get into a New Year's Six bowl if Ohio State goes to college football playoff. Lots still on the table, but you got Maryland, Nebraska, Iowa in the next 3 games. You got some Rutgers. I mean, is there a young guy you could put in there to get him some reps that next year you might be able to like start prepping for next year? Because Jahan Dotson's only a junior, he'll be back. You got a bunch of running backs going to be back. Is there a young guy you can prep?
And you got talent, you got tight ends coming in. Like, I don't want to get too much into recruiting, but the recruiting class next year is pretty awful. 2022 is really good, and I hate to look forward like 3 or 4 years. I'm like, hey, 3 or 4 years, Penn State is going to be they're going to have the talent at that point. But you still have Will Levis, who's I'm
looking at this. Yeah,
Mr. Olympian, who he's a big, strong kid that can run the ball. I do not know. We don't know how good of a thrower he is, and every time he's gotten in, he kind of gets exposed when throwing the ball. I think last year in garbage time he looked good, but he's playing against Rutgers in garbage time or Maryland in garbage time, and Taquan Robinson's third guy.
I'm looking up your guys right now, kind of soon.
Dual threat, like mobile freshman. I don't see him getting too much playing time this year.
But this guy, let's go to him real quick, okay? Granted, I know you got this guy next year. I forgot what you said his name was.
Will Levis.
Yeah. Taquan Roberson. I mean, 5'11", 192. Not tall, but I mean he's beefy.
Yeah.
The number 8 dual threat quarterback in the country.
Yeah.
And he's a freshman. Throw him in there. Fuck it. mean, Clifford's not doing too much more.
So even listening to like the Penn State guys doing their podcast and everything, they kind of hinted at it. It's like, what can Penn State do? Did they possibly want to look at the transfer portal going into next year and like maybe get a quarterback that they can bring to Penn State and say, hey, we got talent, let's put you in there. Like, I hate to write off Sean Clifford, but I said it all last year, and I've been saying it this year. I'm not sold, and if I'm not sold by this point, if I'm not sold,
he's a junior. If you're not sold by a junior year, then he's not the guy.
Yeah,
he had playing time when he got a lot of garbage snaps when Trace McSorley's last year played all last year, and kind of, I mean, they did only lose 2 games last year. It's not like the kid can't play. Like he just loses the games.
He's just not. He's not the guy who's going to take you to that next level.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you're looking for. The guy that's going to take you to the next level. Penn State, you've always, like, for the last, I don't know. Well, you did win the Big Ten the 1 year, but minus that 1 year. I mean, you're right there on the cusp of next level. And Sean Clifford's not the guy to take you there.
He's holding us back, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. And we'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, that Bo Prabila guy, like everyone's really high on him. He's this high school quarterback. We'll see how he does, but Will Levis definitely. As much as I love Will Levis is what's his name for the
Taysom Hill.
That's who he is. He's a big kid that can make a lot of plays, wildcat type of offense. But maybe give Roberson a shot and see what he can do. But
especially if you guys got some easy games coming up. If you get up 20, 30 points in the fourth quarter, put him in there. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I mean that'd be fun to watch, and we'll see going down the road. But I mean, my hopes next year are not going to be too high. The year after that, I'll start ramping up. Their 2022 class already is looking really, really good, and our 2021 is really, really bad. So we'll see how it all pans out. But
yeah.
All right, let's talk about these Buckeyes.
Well, no. So moving on to the NFL. Did I miss something?
I mean, there's lots of Buckeyes in the NFL too.
Did I miss something? I missed something. The Buckeyes. So
they're good.
They're good. I definitely still think. Granted, you guys, like everybody else, you didn't get the 3-game warm up,
right?
And granted, it's still college kids. Not that everybody's going to be perfect, even though, like, when you see a team like Ohio State or Clemson or Alabama, you expect it to be flawless.
Right.
For instance, like White, the cornerback.
Shaun Wade.
Oh, Wade. Sorry, Wade. I mean, could be a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
And like, I wanted to tilt my head a little bit when Dotson beat him twice in a row, but then at the same time, I'm like, okay, it doesn't make him a bad footballer. He's still
he's still good.
He's still a 17, 18-year-old kid. Still got a lot to learn. Doesn't make him any worse of a football player.
And they had transitioned him over to cover because Seven Banks, who was the cornerback who was covering Dotson to start, he was getting picked on. That's when they really started to pick up, and they're like, okay, Shaun Wade, go over, switch sides.
Yeah. So I think to me, looking at Ohio State, the thing that I'm going to take away the most from you guys right now, I mean, Justin Fields and the Washington, they did what they do. That's not shocking.
Right.
No, that's not no offense to Penn State or anybody that they play until they get the college football playoff. Justin Fields and that wide receiving crew is elite across the board. First week we did talk about your running game didn't show up.
Yep.
It was kind of this week they did, especially against a much stouter front. Penn State, regardless of the numbers I'm about to say, Penn State has a very stout front seven.
Yes,
they're very good. And Master Teague, 23 for 110, average 5 yards a carry. Trey Sermon, 13 carries for 56, 4 yards a carry. That's a solid running game right there. And that's what Justin Fields needs.
That was the running game that I expected Ohio State to have coming into this season. Right. Because they didn't have a guy who was going to be stepping in and being that dynamic J.K. Dobbins, Zeke Elliott type running back.
Yeah, you don't have a burner.
We're going to do
you don't have a burner.
4 to 5 yards. Maybe every once in a while they'll be able to break off a 15 to 20 yarder just because they get open space. Yeah. But they're not Trey Sermon and Master Teague are not burners.
No.
They're power guys.
Yeah,
right?
They're going to lower their shoulder and hurt you when you tackle them.
Yeah, specifically Master Teague. That man is a truck.
Justin Fields had negative 4 yards rushing. So they
Right.
do factor in the sacks, by the way.
Yeah.
They do.
That's what Jimmy said. They factor them in college. They don't in the pro stats. But on college, they do.
Here's my one take on it is Justin Fields can run with better than almost any quarterback in the country. They're not even using his legs at this point. I mean, they talked about it. Like, if
I would say
that playbook is half open at this point. That's the scary thing. It's like, all of a sudden they're like, okay, Justin, you go out there and we'll run the read option 3 or 4 times a game. We'll run QB draws. We'll run, we'll get you out in the flat and you can run if you want to. Like, that's what's scary when they get into these big games. Like, I said, their next big game is going to be in the playoffs. Like,
until we get to the playoffs. I mean, it might be. I mean, granted, we know Justin Fields can run, but it might be kind of a thing that we talked about. On that Ohio State Clemson game last year, college football playoff. I remember like when Trevor Lawrence took off for that. Like,
we all said that,
everybody was just like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like, when have you been able to do that? And granted, Justin Fields can run, and we know he can run. But like to me, at this point, when you've got guys averaging 5 yards a carry, 4 yards a carry, and running like Ohio State ran, why? Like, why would you run Justin Fields? Right? So keep him off the ground, keep him beautiful and clean, and let him go.
Against Clemson in the playoffs, when he has to run, he will run. And
I honestly think, and he couldn't run very well against Clemson in the playoffs last year because of his knee. He had hurt his knee against Penn State.
Well, and depending on who you match up with in the college football playoff, but I will say, one of Nick Saban's crutches has been mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean downfalls.
Well, yeah. One of the things he does not do well against is mobile quarterbacks. Remember, Trevor Knight was not a great quarterback for OU. He lit them up. Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of quarterbacks that are mobile that Nick Saban does not do well against.
Johnny Football.
Johnny Football. There's another huge one. And when if you don't show it, and you don't show it, and you don't show it, and so until the college football playoff, it's like it would be hard for Saban or Dabo or whoever the hell you're going to face for that matter. When you don't have video on it, like why would you show it now? Like what these running plays are?
Oh yeah, they're keeping it in their back pocket.
Then you can bust it out the end because they're not going to have video on it. They're not going to be like, all right, this is what it looks like when he runs the ball. This is the formation they usually run. No, fuck it. They're going to be like, fuck it. I don't know. He's going to take the ball and run it sometime, and I don't know what to do. He's just going to be gone.
And it's not going to be surprising. Everyone in the country knows Justin Fields can run better than any quarterback. He's really, really good at it.
And but the point is, like, they're not going to know what formation it's coming out of.
Right. Yeah, and that's why before the podcast I talked about how good I think Ryan Day is. I think he's up there, one of the best play callers, best head coaches in the country. Like he always has Fields in the right play, and a lot of that's Fields. I'm sure Fields could see the game really well at this point, but he's always in the right play. He looks comfortable. Like. Doesn't look pressured. When he is pressured, he makes the right reads. He makes the right calls. Like he's well coached. And I think it's really weird. I know we talked about it before, but Justin Fields is vegan now, right? And he did that because he wanted to gain an extra step, which is really weird. So, you usually think about quarterbacks you usually think about quarterbacks putting on weight and being more durable and all that stuff. Justin Fields says, "Hey, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get more healthy. I'm going to not run the ball as much." And that probably factors into what is the play calling for Ohio State at this point is like, we're not going to go out there and get you hurt. It's like,
I found out a little bit more about that. It wasn't necessarily to lose weight. So I guess him and his family went on a cleanse or whatever.
Yeah, they went on
a
whole
vegan cleanse,
21-day juice
for a week thing. And he liked how he felt. So he just kept it going.
Yeah. Which ended up losing weight. And he's not as big as he was last year.
I would say less about 10 pounds.
Yeah, but usually you think of quarterbacks, especially when he gets to the NFL, he's probably going to have to put weight back on because he's got to be durable. He's got to be able to take the hits. And
for sure. Yeah.
So it's weird to have a quarterback like, oh, I'm losing weight in the offseason. Like you don't really hear that, but
that was a little weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, look at that. I mean, the rest of
we were talking about the spread options, the
offenses.
I think he's been told not the spread. Offenses, the options, the spread option pass. The play action options.
Read
option. Sorry. I always forget what that's called. But I think he's been specifically told, don't pull the ball.
Well, then that's not a read. Then that's not a read option. That's an off tackle.
Yeah, I know. But
so
it's
then
played
it's not
off,
a read.
But it's played
it's
off
not a read
like
option. It's just a handoff to your tackle.
But he's playing it like he could pull it.
He's still.
In fact, in Nebraska, he pulled it.
So I will go back to that Nebraska game. How many rushes did he have this week? 6. What did he have against Nebraska? It felt like when I watched the Nebraska game and they're talking about it, like he's lost weight, he doesn't want to get hit, they're not going to run him as much this year. And then I watched that Nebraska game and I'm like, seems to be tucking it a little bit more. Maybe after against Nebraska,
he ran the ball. He ran the ball 15 times against.
Right. So I think they might have had a conversation.
I can't remember how many of those were designed.
He might have had a conversation afterwards and said, "Hey,
you're
not running the ball. Get rid of the ball or hand it off or whatever."
You can talk about him. He lost some pounds. He's 6'3", 230. He's fine. If he gets hit, he is
20 now.
He's still fine. If he gets hit, he'll be okay.
Yeah, he's still huge.
The ultimate luxury as a quarterback is I have the best legs in college football, but I don't need it because I also have one of the best arms in college football and the best wide receivers in college football. And Olave's up there in my opinion. I think he's awesome. But
right. Well,
he doesn't have to. He just has the right play call every time and makes defenses look stupid.
Well, I know take it back to OU, but 2 years ago when we had Kyler, we had the top rated offense in the last 20 years. And the reason is because what Ohio State has now, that we had CeeDee Lamb and all these wide receivers that you have to freaking worry about, like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then if they're covered, Kyler's going to pull it and he's gone.
Yeah.
And Ohio State's the same way. Like, you got this Olave and Wilson and all these other guys out there, and you got to worry about them being super studs. And then, okay, well, you do your job there in the back four and cover them, then he's going to go, all right, I'm going to take my free 25 yards, and I might turn it into 50. You don't know. I'm by. Goodbye.
Yeah, this might be the best wide receiver core that Ohio State has had, especially at the 1-2 position. Like a 1-2 punch of receivers. I can't remember the last time Ohio State had 2 wide receivers go for over 100 yards receiving 2 weeks in a row. Usually we have one really good one, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you got one stud that you're like, holy crap.
Yeah, this is the first time in a while we've had 2.
Yeah, you usually have one guy that's a stud, then you have 2 to 4 guys depending on the year. That one would have a good year or week, and it just kind of bounce. Just depends on what the coverage is. I agree with that. Like with Wilson and Olave, you guys got one hell of a 1-2 punch, and then when you got
it's up there best in the country in my opinion. Granted, it's only 2 games, but still.
I will say the only reason that I'll put you up there, because to me it was no question until Alabama boy got hurt.
Oh yeah, Alabama.
Alabama had it, and then when he got hurt, that obviously hurt them. But yeah, that 1-2 punch was just stupid.
Yeah. And Mac Jones is ridiculous good.
Oh yeah, he
out of nowhere. Hey, I was behind Tua Tagovailoa for you.
Right, yeah. So let's talk about this for a little bit, for a quick second. We haven't really talked about it because it's been a weird season. Big Ten's just gotten hidden up 2 weeks in. Pac-12 starts this week. I know we're not Pac-12 fans. We talk shit about the Pac-12, but it's nice to have all of the Power Fives back. Mm-hmm. We're finally going to have them all.
They get the best uniforms in the country.
Oregon's spectacular. Arizona State actually has been having a great year.
Arizona States are dope.
Yeah, but we haven't really talked Heisman yet.
All right.
I know it's a little weird season so far, so it's going to be a little hard. I know Lawrence was number 1. They had Lawrence dropping. The front runner right now per ESPN is Mac Jones.
Sure.
And then it goes Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, right there. Before we get into this, because one of the guy that's number 5, I gotta tell you something funny, Jim. I don't know did you look at your history on Facebook today?
No.
You posted a highlight video from a senior in high school, and you said, "Bro, ...
Who was it?
It was Najee Harris, running back for Alabama. And I was about to could send it back to you today, but this aged very well.
Yeah.
Because he's
I'll take that win.
I was like, well, it's funny because Ryan commented, I think Cal's commented, there's a lot Natty commented. Everybody was like, holy shit, this guy.
Yeah.
Granted, it's paying off, and I think Najee Harris is up there. But
by the way, Najee Harris is huge.
Yeah, he's an animal.
He's an huge.
I said
like in my head, I always had him like as somebody who I don't know why, like a shifty kind of runner, maybe like 6 foot, 210 pounds. No, he's huge.
Yeah, he is huge. I mean, obviously, Najee Harris has 714 yards for 14 touchdowns this year so far, and he is 6'2", 230.
Yeah,
beefy.
Breece Hall is probably the top running back in the conversation. He's got 901 for 11 touchdowns right now, but I mean, this is a quarterback battle.
It's a quarterback battle, yeah. And Mac Jones is like I looked up his numbers today. He's over 2,000 yards. I forgot how many touchdowns he had.
I got it right here. Hold on. He's got 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions,
and over 2,000 yards
with
6 games
with a 210 rating.
Yeah,
He's almost got 2,200 yards in 6 games.
I tell you what, man, if if Justin Fields missed out on the Heisman for a 1-year wonder again,
I mean,
that's going to be frustrating. But
I mean, it's not going to be surprising. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, first off, what was surprising is when Tua went down last year, and Mac Jones came in. And we were just sitting there like, who the fuck is this guy? Like,
yeah.
Not thinking that it's Alabama, and obviously they got like a 5-star just locked and loaded, ready to fucking rumble. But we were like, oh, who's this guy? Blah, blah, blah. And then he tore up Michigan, straight lit him up. And then here he comes this year, and he's our leader for the Heisman. And you're like, okay, this guy can play.
And by the way, they've got their next quarterback coming up right behind him, don't they?
Well,
I'm sure first they have a 5-star that's in middle school right now for the 2028 class that's already ready to go, you know?
Yeah. Well, Mac Jones is only a junior. He will be back.
Yep.
I mean, if Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields are going out and he could come back and repeat what he's doing this year, he could go damn high.
Yes.
And
exactly.
he's got now he's got the experience.
Right. And he's 6'3", 215. Good sized quarterback. Did you
see the picture of him come out today? It was after their Tennessee win. Like he's standing there with a cigar in his mouth, shirtless, and he's full on dad bod.
Is he really?
Yeah, he is. Full on dad bod. I'm like, and somebody posts like, "This is your Heisman front runner right now."
Typical white boy. I love it.
Kid can spin it though.
Yeah, that dude can throw the ball. Like don't run. Justin Fields is having a hell of a year this year, and Trevor Lawrence is out for 2 weeks, but he's having a great year. But Mac Jones is just well, and it sucks. I mean, like, is UCF running the ball at all?
I don't know, man. All he does is toss the ball around.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's thrown for 2,500 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Granted, he's thrown the ball 100 times more than Mac Jones.
Yeah, that's what you get. You get the Washington State model there.
Yeah,
right.
You get their quarterback who leads the country in passing yards, but
and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's going to happen this year, but Spencer Rattler has 1,800 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. He will get one before he leaves OU. He will get.
If he doesn't, what are we making him eat, Ryan? You got to eat some underwear or something.
Some underwear?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
My wife's.
Raw catfish.
I think he'll get one. I mean, just looking at him and everything.
Yeah, for when Fields is gone and Fields and Lawrence are both leaving. That's just gonna happen.
Unless the Jets get the number 1 pick and then Lawrence might stay. I don't know.
He's not staying.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to pay for the Jets. I'm just saying.
Oh my God, the Jets.
The Jets is where quarterbacks go to die.
Is that our transition in the NFL?
Well, yeah, I was about to say. So Mac Jones is leader. Going into the NFL. Ryan, should we even? Do you even want to talk about your boys?
Hey, they might be the worst team in football right now. To be honest, I was happy. I was pretty. I almost pulled Penn State. I was kind of happy.
Wait, hold on, Ryan. I got a question for you.
What?
Because you say you might be the worst team in football, and the last 2 weeks from what I saw, I probably would agree with you.
Their defense actually last night looked actually.
Hold on.
Solid.
You are a dick blower.
Yeah.
If you guys get the number 1 pick and have a chance for Trevor Lawrence,
I think I answered this week 1 podcast.
But we were joking about it because Dak was still playing. There's no way in hell that
he was leading the league in passing.
Yeah, there's no way you
would throw for 500 yards a game. Yeah.
Well, but there's no way in hell you guys were going to get the number 1 pick because Dak was still playing. At minimum, you guys are going to win 9 games. Now we're like, okay, well, this might actually be an option.
Yeah, I still don't see it being an option, but with the struggles, God, it would. Listen, the only thing that would make losing Dak better is getting Trevor Lawrence, right?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, and that fixes this problem.
It does fix that problem for the next
4 years. For everybody that can't see me, I apologize. I'm doing the money sign. It fixed the money sign.
Yeah.
I forgot that not everybody can't see us.
I'm not going to get into that conversation yet because that's not going to happen. Cowboys are not going to have a chance for Trevor Lawrence. It's just not going to happen. But the defense looked good this week, and we started a rookie quarterback he went to Pitt. There was something about him. I was like, man, this kid really seems familiar. Where do I know this guy from? He's the 3rd string quarterback for the Cowboys, but he played 6 games at Pitt, and I'm pretty sure he played against Penn State in one of those games. And I was like, God, that name sounds real familiar.
In 2016.
Yeah, and then he transferred to. Well, no, he's a rookie this year, so it must have been the 2017 year, maybe.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but then he transferred to James Madison. He won a championship there, but I mean, he is not good. I'm not going to make him sound like a good quarterback, but the defense looked better. I was happy. Getting healthy on defense made some differences. We got rid of a bunch of players. We got rid of Dontari Poe. We got rid of Everson Griffith this week. Cowboys are pretty much dumping the season and dumping the players. And
hey, do you know who's still available quarterback, Ryan?
Kaepernick.
Chad Kelly.
I'd rather take that. The Cowboys.
It wouldn't be boring, that's for sure.
Not much to talk about the Cowboys this week.
The Giants are beating the Browns are the Giants are beating Tampa Bay right now.
Dude,
17-15. And Ross, did you see Walnick? Are you friends with Walnick on Facebook? Walnick we deployed with. He's a big Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, and he came out and he said, what's going on with the NFC East? These teams are trash, and now the NFC East team is beating his beloved Buccaneers.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, so
I love football karma. I love sports karma like that, man.
Go ahead, Ryan. No,
one of my big surprises this week is, and I think we talked about this. I'm not a Drew Lock guy, and I live here in Denver, and everyone talks about Drew Lock. I might be changing my mind. I mean, the comeback he had, I mean, it was against the Chargers. Chargers aren't the greatest team in the world, but what he did, and then my boy KJ Hamler getting a catch in the end zone to seal the game. I mean, that was pretty fun to watch. But Drew Lock,
I still need to watch those highlights.
Drew Lock might be. They might have something in Denver. And Denver is a weird team because they're just not that good, but they play harder than they are.
Well, and they got nobody on their team. It's if you look at their roster, you're like, who the hell is that?
Yeah, you got Cortland Sutton, Melvin Gordon. I mean, KJ Hamler. You got some guys, but defense are still pretty good. I mean,
you're not going to be able
to
keep Melvin Gordon. He's going to ask for way too much money.
I don't think so, man. I think he is.
That's the reason why he left Los Angeles.
Yep.
Yeah, Denver is not paying him that much this year either. I don't think.
They got him on a loan.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't think
he's going to go somewhere else.
I don't think. Like I said, we've talked about Melvin Gordon. I think he's been borderline overrated his whole career. Hopefully, he doesn't ever catch me in the street saying that. But
I'll tell you what, those the Wisconsin running backs, they're a weird anomaly, and I want to see what's going to happen with Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah,
they run the tread off of those guys.
Yeah, so they get so many miles in college.
Yeah, and then I remember it was who was it? Melvin Gordon, I think, passed him for all-time rushing. No, Jonathan Taylor passed him. He was in Denver. What's his name?
Terrell Davis.
Jerome Bettis.
No.
No.
Marcus Allen.
Emmitt Smith. No. All right, Jimmy, while you're thinking.
Okay, so Browns losing again. Baker
Monty Ball.
again.
Monty Ball.
Monte Ball.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't
Monte
he kill,
Ball.
Didn't he
He
kill
was-
like 14 people or something?
I don't know.
No.
No, that's some other guy.
Yeah. Monte Ball was a guy who was coming out of Wisconsin. He was highly touted running back. He was like the best running back in that class
he's
that
good.
year. And he came in to Denver, run heavy, and couldn't do much. Couldn't stay healthy. Well, and I will give he has come out and said that he admitted his alcoholism, was having issues with that and all that other kind of stuff. But Melvin Gordon
so Jimmy, you'll like this one. Steelers might be the best team in the AFC. I know the Chiefs are still there, but there's
don't get me wrong, nothing against the Steelers. Steelers look very good.
Yeah.
I'm still taking the Chiefs. They look good on offense.
Yeah, for sure. And the Steelers are so weird to me, right? They don't have anybody on offense that's like leading the way. They're all sort of consistent across the board. Like Ben Roethlisberger had under 200 yards passing, but like 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
And they're not particularly running the ball great. They're just doing it
okay.
Benny Snell's just kind of okay.
Yeah.
You know, the receivers are ridiculous good though. Like you still got Juju, Deontay Smith out of Toledo, by the way, and then Mapletron, Chase Claypool.
Yeah. So their defense is the story, man.
100%.
Watt and
Cameron Hayward from
the other guy on the other end.
Bud
Kentucky
Dupree.
boy. Yeah, the Kentucky boy.
Hey, they're just so good there. But I mean, they're really good. The rest of the games are really kind of crazy. The Broncos upset the Chargers.
Wait, hold on. Let's talk about the craziest shit ever to me. The Rams Dolphins. Dolphins win 28-17. The Rams outgained them 471 to 145, and the Dolphins won by 11 points.
I looked that up.
There's a 3, but still, they said I was listening to Sports Talk this morning. They said the 330-yard difference was the biggest of any game this year. Not on any game of a team that's won, any game, period.
Yep.
And the team that only had 145 yards won by 11 points.
Yeah, 2 had under 100 yards. That was kind of crazy. The Miami Dolphins winning that game. You had the Vikings beating Green. They beat Green Bay, right?
Yeah, they did
too.
Yep. So that's a big upset.
It's such a weird year.
The Giants are beating the Tampa Bay right now. Granted, we'll see. Never mind, Tampa Bay just picked it off.
I don't know if I'd call the Raiders beating the Browns an upset, but the Raiders. I mean, that was an ugly game.
Well, yeah. I'll say, that game had the wind and everything. It's a little weird. I do want to bring up something, Jim. I think I forgot what night it was, but like
Joe
we were
Burrow
talking.
beating the Titans.
Well, I want to bring up something up because I was talking to Jim. Was it Saturday night? I think, Jim. We were talking about Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And I was saying that I wasn't sold on Joe Burrow. Not saying that he's not going to be. I'm not saying he's not going to be a good quarterback. I'm just saying let's pump the brakes. Let's wait. Because his first year at LSU, he had a very ho-hum season. He had best season ever, and now he's in the NFL. So I'm like, okay, we have one season. We'll wait on it. But everybody's kind of touting him like, oh, he's a franchise quarterback, rookie of the year, running away. And I looked at it, and if you want to talk about rookie of the year, you can pump the fucking brake because Justin Herbert. And as the Chargers has much better numbers. He's got much better numbers. Like in that kid, and everybody forgets about him because Joe Burrow is the number one quarterback. He's got the yards, or the number one pick. He's got the yards. He plays for Cincy. He is the face. And I'm not gonna lie. I actually had to look. I was like, was Justin Herbert drafted this year, or is he in his second year? I was like, but that's like what I think about with him because he's kind of an afterthought with all the big name quarterbacks that's come out the last couple of years. So I was like, fuck, when was he drafted? I was like, okay, so it is this year. I looked at his stats and they're fucking impressive.
Yes.
He does have a lot. He has better weapons on the outside than Joe Burrow, and I will give him that.
Better defense, better weapons. Yeah.
Well, the defense has nothing to do with your numbers, really. They do because
it helps you.
It doesn't hurt, but I mean, it's not like a direct impact. He does have better weapons on the outside, and I'll give him that. But I mean, this is not a knock on Joe Burrow. Don't get me wrong,
right?
But Justin Herbert is impressive.
Yep.
He is very impressive. And he's played one less game than Like he didn't start the first game. And yeah, I think he's up there. I think he's like second or third in the league in yards per game, second or third in yards per attempt. He's got like 17 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Like,
yep.
I think
he's good. He's good, but right now, who would you take?
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I'd have to take Burrow. I like Herbert a lot too. This is not a knock against him.
I would.
At all,
yeah. To be honest with you,
Burrow's
it's a
got
coin toss. Let's say Ben Roethlisberger gets hurt tonight, and they got the option of Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert.
We can only pray. We can only pray on that.
I would have to flip a coin. I don't have either or. A lot of people would be like, "Oh, Joe Burrow, no contest." I'm like, I don't know because they're both great,
bro. The only reason I will take Herbert, actually, there's a couple reasons, and granted, none of them are like crazy, outstanding numbers by any means, right? I like Herbert's size over Burrow. I mean, Herbert's 6'6".
Yeah, he's gigantic.
He's a monster. And then Herbert did do it at Oregon for multiple years before coming to the NFL.
That's fair.
And those are the only 2 reasons. Joe Burrow did have the season of a lifetime, of a generation. Jesus Christ, his year was stupid, but that's the only season he's had against elite talent that was great. Yeah. Joe Burrow did have, Herbert did have 2 or 3 years in college. That's the only reason. Granted, if you gave me Joe Burrow, I'm not going to be pissed off. I'll be like, okay, let's go. Like, don't get me wrong. All right, that's sweet. But if you gave me the pick of the litter, I'd probably take Justin Herbert. More for his size and his starting experience and what he's proved me on a longer scale.
Yep.
Can we talk about how?
But on that decision, I don't think you can go wrong. I think
I think these two, both those guys, I think, are going to be starting in the NFL for a very long time. Going to win a lot of games.
Unless the Bengals screw up.
They're very different in a lot of ways, but similar. Their mental game is solid. There's nothing that's it doesn't look like anything's gonna rattle those 2 kids, and they got it upstairs, right?
Yeah.
What other games happened this week, Jim? Patriots losing again. Patriots are just bad. Oh, so remember when we talked about was that on the podcast? We talked about I think it was week 1 or maybe it was week 2 or might have been week 2.
Yeah, it was probably early on when New England was still winning. And we're like, was it the system or was it a little bit of both?
Was it Brady or was it Belichick? That's the question. And
now
I think it's pretty damn obvious what the actual answer is. And we were pretty wrong. I mean, I know I was like, no, it's got to be Belichick. The Patriots are going to be good. They got Cam. And
I was concerned about, not concerned because I don't root for them necessarily, but the whole idea was. Is New England like Cam in New England to me doesn't fit?
I'll disagree. I think it fits. The thing that doesn't fit is name another guy on that team. And this is something we've overlooked. I
guess you talking about
on the Patriots?
Sony Michel,
Julian Edelman.
Julian Edelman's hurt.
The wide receiver out of Arizona State, D apostrophe something.
Yeah, Hall of Famer, obviously. We don't even know that. But okay, so that's kind of my point. We kind of overlooked that when Brady was there. I mean, we didn't really overlook it. We always talked about Brady's doing it. He had Gronk and he had Moss for a year, but besides those guys, did he have these huge
what Deontay Branch?
Yeah.
But
not even a real.
But
that's a real person.
Yeah, I mean,
Deontay Branch. I think
was
it
Deontay
Branch or
Devin Branch.
Yeah. Okay,
I thought it was Devin Branch.
So we always said that we're like, it's the system, and Brady doesn't matter who's on Brady's team and stuff like that. But was it the system, or did Brady just make everyone better? I mean, he had Edelman.
No, there's no question. Brady made everybody better. Like those guys, they went and won a Super Bowl with Brady. They went off to other teams and they didn't do anything except for Branch. Branch did go to Seattle and he won Super Bowl MVP, I think, when Seattle won the Super Bowl. But for the most part, a lot of these guys,
like Wilson too.
Exactly. Like it's not like he had a shitty quarterback throwing the ball, but a lot of those guys, granted minus Moss, but Wes Welker,
He did all right. He did
a good career, and
he had a good career. But
by the way, he's a wide receiver coach for somebody now. I saw him the other day. He's a wide receiver coach for one of the teams in the NFL.
Still one of the greatest guys I've ever met. Shoot for the stars.
What?
So, I mean, you take Cam, and I mean, Cam did have talent in Carolina for most of his career. Like, he had guys, and he had some talent around him, and I know Kelvin Benjamin, and he had some running back. I mean, maybe we're talking about the same thing because Cam didn't have the most in Carolina, but I think Cam goes to New England, and it's like, all right, Cam, you're on New England now. You got Belichick, but you don't got anyone else. It's like you got to kind of run this offense by yourself, and you got to figure it out the same way Brady figured it out, and it just doesn't seem to be working, And now Brady's the exact opposite. Now Brady's just loaded at talent. Like guys are coming out of retirement to come play with him. It's like,
and that was my point. That was my point about Cam not fitting in New England. It's not because he's not a good quarterback. It's because his mental game compared to Brady's mental game, not the same thing.
Right.
Like Cam's very emotional, which I'm not going to knock him for. That's a part of the reason that gives him his fire. But the thing that is starting to happen, started to happen near his tenure in Carolina, was his body was starting to give out on him. Right? He was constantly injured.
Yeah, he's dealing with a pretty bad ankle or foot injury too.
Kind of
gets overlooked, but yeah.
Yeah, and then so he's not as mobile as he used to be, so he can't be as. It's kind of like if you take, all right, it's John Jones without the Coke.
Yeah.
Right. Like he's just not out there. He's not having as much fun. He's not as, loose, and he's always been kind of a loose kind of a player. Like I brought up that whole situation where it was him and
Jimmy likes him loose. I get it, Jimmy. I get it. You like him loose.
like and black, but that's besides the point. Talking back and forth with Clay Matthews and just having fun, smiling all the time. When he's in a bad mood, he does not play well at all.
Yeah. So I think
Tom Brady, you're in a bad mood, suck it up. Let's get this done. We have a job to do.
Yeah. NFL is kind of weird this week. Obviously I won't be talking much about the Cowboys the rest of the year. It's kind of the season's pretty much over for them, but
so your football seasons are over.
You know what's crazy? Cowboys win that game last night. They're in first place in the division. I mean, that's how bad that division is.
That's how bad that division is.
Cowboys are awful, but
they would be.
This is one of the fucking years that this happens, and like the goddamn Eagles are going to get in the playoffs at like 5-11, and then they're going to win like 3 games, and you're like, what the hell? Like, how did this happen?
How bad is it? How bad is it that the Eagles might make the playoffs at 5-11, and the Browns will miss out on the playoffs?
Probably 10-5, 9-6.
Probably, like win like 5 to 6 more games. And,
you got to go lower. You were saying 10-5 last week before they just lost to the Raiders.
But I had the Raiders. I had the Raiders as a loss.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because they still look at it. Like I'm looking at it again. They still have to play the Eagles, the Jaguars, the Giants, the Jets. That's 5 right now, and that would put them at
10. 3 of the NFC East teams.
Yep.
Well, they played
Jets,
all 4
Giants, Jags, and
Eagles. You said.
Yeah, the Eagles. So that's 4 wins. So that's 9 right there. That means they have to win 1 against the Texans, Titans, Ravens, or Steelers, which isn't likely. So even then, but even if they end at 9-6, that's still a hell of a lot better than the Eagles.
Sure.
Yeah. We'll see how it all pans out.
Well, so I will we gotta kind of. I'm gonna bolt off to a different little subject here, but I want to bring up something that I was telling Jimmy, and we're gonna be interested. And this week is hard to judge because the wind in that Cleveland Los Angeles, it makes it hard for anybody to throw the ball when there's 40-mile-an-hour winds.
By the way, the whole Northeast and Midwest had the wind problem. Like I noticed in that game against Cowboys against Philadelphia, they were dealing with that wind too. So I think I don't want to let's not.
It's getting into winter time.
Yeah,
wind's coming in.
No, I'm just saying it's just hard to throw. Like, I don't expect anybody to go into a game. Like, if either one of those guys would have thrown for 350 yards and 40-mile-an-hour wind, I've been like, what the fuck? I'm just saying it's the thing. But the reason I'm saying is it's going to be interesting because I did read an article going into after last week, after OBJ went down. It's not a knock on OBJ, but if you look at Baker Mayfield's stats, when he targets OBJ, his completion percentage is 45%.
Yeah.
Or 35%. Sorry, 35%. When he targets the rest of the team, it's up in like the 65, 70%. And it was, what's the guy on Get Up or First Take, the old Cowboys player?
Oh,
not Wiley. The big dude?
Yeah, the big dude.
Or not, God dang, I forgot his name.
But like, so he said, he's like, and the reason behind that is he's like, he thinks it's better with OBJ not there. He's like, because when OBJ's on the field, Baker being a younger guy with OBJ, he breaks the huddle, and the first thing that pops in his head is, what's OBJ's route and where is he?
Yeah.
And he said, when he's not on the field, his thoughts are, what are my routes and what are my reads? And that's what a quarterback should be.
Right.
So he's like, we'll see what his percentage goes. Again, the 40-mile-an-hour winds doesn't help this week. Granted, his percentage wasn't bad. They just didn't throw the ball. And I did watch that game.
He was under 50%.
Well, he had
48. Yeah.
He had 3 drops, 2 to Jarvis Landry, who does not drop the ball.
Basically automatic.
Yeah, he does not. And one of them was in the end zone. Like, it was a beautiful ball over. And granted, it's the win, but I mean, he's got to play in the thing. Can't make excuses for the guy.
Right.
I think it's be interesting going forward without OBJ and letting Baker not concentrate on a single wide receiver.
We were talking weeks ago about how good, and obviously Chubb being out doesn't make anything easier, but they still have Kareem Hunt. Like, we were talking about the best running team in the NFL. Like, this is a perfect game for them to just go out there and slam the ball down the Raiders' throat, and just to go out there and do it. And they just obviously things happen, and if they're stacking a box and they know it's windy and they can't throw. I mean, Derek Carr did not have good numbers at all either. I mean, they are very similar quarterback ratings. Derek Carr had one more touchdown, but Baker was 12 for 25. Carr was 15 for 24.
And Josh Jacobs, 31 carries for 128 yards. Kareem Hunt, 14 attempts.
There's your win, right? I mean, I know.
You got to run the ball. You got to run the ball.
That's quarterbacks. Good. I'm not going to get into a podcast of me just knocking Baker. He's got to be better. I mean, we can all agree with that. He's got to be better. He's got to do better.
100% he's got to get better.
And that did run through my head. It did run through my head when OBJ went out. It's like, maybe it'll start clicking in Baker's head. He'll start distributing the ball better. He won't be targeting OBJ every time. But when it comes down to it, do you want OBJ on the field or not? Yes.
You do.
You do.
You do. You just you need to have your quarterback to have enough. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm watching this video of like the wind, and I can send it to you. It's just fucking stupid. Like the quarterback, but you want him on the field, but you need your quarterback. Like, for instance, if OBJ was on the field with Aaron Rodgers and he was like, "I'm fucking open," Aaron Rodgers is gonna look at you and go, "Cool fucking story, bro." Like,
so was that other guy that's 20 yards farther down?
I don't care. I've completed 90% of my passes and got 5 touchdowns. Give me some cheese wheels.
Now breaking all that down, no matter what, that's not good. If you're a quarterback and you're just targeting one guy, and if he's on the field, he's your number one option every time, even though it's not the hot read or whatever. It's like
right.
You got to get better. You got to do it better.
Yeah,
you definitely got to do it better. I did read somewhere that that was probably OBJ's last game in a Cleveland uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, like you said, you obviously would rather have OBJ on the field, and I'm not going to deny that. But I mean, even if you take OBJ off that team, still a pretty damn good, talented team.
Yeah,
it's still a very talented team. It's like Jarvis Landry. I mean, he's not your everyday number one, but he's pretty damn good.
Yep.
So
where's OBJ go after this? There's a team that has a number one wide receiver who's not happy, and he went to Ohio State. It's down there in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, New Orleans.
And where's OBJ from?
Well, yeah, but how long is Drew Brees playing?
Well,
he's gonna leave there, and then Brees retires, and now you got Taysom Hill throwing you the ball. Whoa, that's not much better than other places.
Jameis Winston, bro.
Oh, Jameis Winston throws as many passes to the other dudes as they do his dudes. So,
you know where I could see him going? Chargers. Go to LA.
I don't know. Yeah, he was. Yeah, I mean, he seems like an LA type of guy.
I don't know if they'll pay him because
that
the Chargers ownership are notorious for not paying people.
But then you get into the interesting thing again. Would Justin Herbert, a young, influential quarterback, get locked into an OBJ player? Yeah. I think OBJ needs to go to a veteran quarterback.
So
Dallas.
One thing I'll say, we talked about Justin Herbert and his mentality of just straight, like, I'm gonna make the right read every time, and I'm just gonna do whatever I want, and I don't get excited and all this stuff.
Oh, but
the opposite of Baker. Baker is.
But Justin Herbert doesn't have a wide receiver in his head going, "Give me the goddamn ball! I'm gonna knock over this kicking net, throwing my helmet."
Yeah, that's true.
Keenan Allen
is very even.
Mike Williams.
They're having fantastic seasons, and I haven't heard a peep from them.
Oh yeah.
I like to call them lunch pail wide receivers.
Yeah,
they're like, I'm gonna go out and do my job.
Go to work and leave.
Julio Jones, guys like that.
Amari Cooper's like that too. Amari Cooper,
Andre Johnson. He was one of those guys. Yeah.
So I don't know where he could go. Granted, I do think he has grown up a lot in the last couple of years. I don't think he was a head case that he was in New York, and I will give him props for that. He's not happy in Cleveland, and I get that, but he's not spouting it all over Twitter or kicking and throwing shit. So give that to OBJ. So I think a lot of teams will be more open.
Sure.
He'll probably end up in Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. I was thinking the exact same thing. Tampa Bay. Is Antonio Brown playing tonight? By the way,
I don't think he's playing tonight. I know Brady.
I know he just got
he's
signed,
sleeping in Brady's basement. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
that doesn't make any sense.
Seriously, probably because he's got a peephole just to watch Giselle change. I'm just saying.
Jesus. Okay.
Let's get real. He's a creepo, dude. He's a creepo. But yeah,
I don't with the NFL. Yeah, I think there's not much else to talk about.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting going forward. You talk about the Steelers being number one team in the AFC. They could be. I really, really do hope we get Chiefs Steelers in the AFC Championship.
Dude, that defense.
I think that would be fun.
We noticed who was. Yeah, did the Chiefs lose to the Chargers? Is that who they lost to? Yeah, they lost to the Chargers, and they also lost to who was their other loss?
The Chiefs?
They only have one loss.
They have one loss, and I thought it was to Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, it was the Raiders.
They lost to the Raiders.
I know
but also you also have to add in that Steelers Chiefs Le'Veon Bell versus Steelers. There's a lot of fun parts of that. It's like that'd be a fun game to watch. And I mean, in 2 weeks, by the way, they got a bye. So in 3 weeks, the Chiefs do have another shot at the Raiders, and I have a feeling that one will not end well for the Raiders.
No.
Okay. I was looking up stats because I was trying to see if Las Vegas had a good defense or anything like that, right?
No,
you want to know how
their
crazy
pass defense is god awful.
You want to know how crazy good Dak Prescott was doing? So as of right now, as a team, the Dallas Cowboys still lead the league in passing yards.
Yeah.
They're going to get past. They're going to get past eventually, but he's been out for what, 3 weeks?
When you're down by 40 points every single game, you got to start airing.
I was about to say, when you're losing, you got to start throwing the ball because
that was more. What did Dak do? Dak it's not like he's a quarterback that said, "No, that's not part of my game. I'm more of a game manager." No, he went out there and threw 500 yards a game and did what he needed to do to get close in these games. But I don't want to get in a Dak conversation because I love the guy and I think he's.
I like him too. He grew on me. I never disliked him personally because he's not a bad guy. He's a good guy.
All he did was get better. Like every year he got better.
And you got to give him props for that.
Yeah. To
me,
in particular, my only thing with Dak, don't get me wrong, I think he's a nice guy. He's played fantastic. My only thing was, granted, you aim for the stars. I can't argue the dude, but like the contract he asked for, I was like, Come on. And then when he got offered $35 million and he said no, and I was like, that's a lot of money, dude. That is a lot of money.
You know how much I love talking about contract negotiations and how much we know, and we're not in the room and we don't know what's going on.
We don't know what's going on.
One side says something, the other side says something else, and it's like we have no idea what the actual contract.
I think we've gone over that.
Yeah, we do.
Times.
Let's we're gonna move on real quick. And granted, we get caught up with the Big Ten being back and all sorts of college football. And let's give some props where props are due. Los Angeles Dodgers, World Series champs. We have not talked about that. I'm sure the Dodgers are listening to me, so I'm going to apologize to them because I know they listen to me all the time. But give them props. They won it. I doubted them because they've kind of flaked in the postseason from time to time when they have had the best team. Granted, there are some reasons. Yeah, there's some drums in there. Last year there was not a reason. They lost to somebody they shouldn't have lost. But they did win it. Tipped the hat to them. Tipped the hat to the Rays for the season they had. Jesus Christ, they had. I think I saw something that Kershaw and Mookie Betts topped their entire team salary.
Yeah.
So tip the hats to the Rays. They had one hell of a season. Thank you for your batter. That's going to be a Yankee. I don't know, in like 3-4 years.
Were you talking about that guy, Randy Arozarena?
Yes, Arozarena will be a Yankee at some time. I don't know when, but he will be. Let's just get real. I will say one thing that, granted, shocker, as a Yankees fan, I don't watch a lot of Red Sox games.
They were so bad this year.
Unless they play the Yankees in any year. It was I was watching the Dodgers Braves series, and one of the announcers, because like to me, best player in baseball for the last multiple years has been Mike Trout.
Right.
He is spectacular, unbelievable. And I heard one of the announcers say something like, it's Mike Trout, then maybe like a minuscule behind him is Mookie Betts. Like, Mookie Betts can fuck off. He's not Mike Trout. Well, then I watched the World Series, and some of the plays Mookie Betts made, I was like,
Mookie Betts is ridiculous.
I was like, this dude's fucking good.
Mookie Betts is ridiculous.
Good. Yeah, so
by the way,
I have learned my lessons and tip my hat to Mookie Betts. You are a stud.
By the way, a great bowler too.
Oh, it's good to know.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for that.
Hey,
thanks for that.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thanks, Jim. I
do have some news out of the Major League Baseball because the finalists for awards have dropped.
I saw that
today. National League Rookie of the Year. You've got some guys you've never heard of. Alec Boehm, Jake Cronenworth, and Devin Williams. That's Phillies, Padres, Brewers. On the American League side, you've got from the Astros, Christian Javier. Mariners, you got Kyle Lewis, and White Sox, Lewis Robert. Moving on.
Yeah, fuck off. Get to the good shit.
Okay. Manager of the Year.
Okay, fuck off. MVPs.
Okay, let's go. Well,
I've got him right here.
I'll start Cy Young. Cy Young finalists for the National League: Trevor Bauer, Yu Darvish, and Jacob deGrom. That's 3 great pitchers. Cy Young AL.
Hold on. On that, I would love to see Yu Darvish after he started out so hot, like when he came in, and then
in Texas. Yeah,
and he kind of fizzled off a little
because he went to Los Angeles and they were beating on trash cans against him.
Right, and so
he was tipping his pitches.
Yeah, they said they were tipping his pitches. Yu Darvish got beat the fuck up by the Astros.
Yep.
And just got shit on, and then you figured out they were cheating, and that's why. So I would like to see Yu Darvish to get that, to see him come back from people dogging on him, and then you figure out they're cheating against him.
Yeah.
To winning the Cy Young
Award.
Kind of Yu Darvish's way of saying, fuck you, I'm still a good pitcher.
Yeah.
Like, give me mine.
As a pitcher, which is one of the harder positions in sports, it's more mental than it is physical, and if you get your confidence broken as a pitcher, and that's tough, and for him to come back from that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I would love to see Yu Darvish win that. I don't know if he will. Trevor Bauer had a great year.
Great year. He couldn't put up the wins because his team couldn't put up runs.
Right.
But
yeah.
his numbers are ridiculous.
Yeah. But I really, really hope Yu Darvish wins that. That'd be awesome to see that come back.
Yeah. So American League side for the Cy Young, we've got
Shane Bieber. Shut up. Shane Bieber.
Kenta Maeda, and the winner, Shane Bieber.
Shane Bieber. Yeah, Shane Bieber's going to win it. That's not even a question.
He's as good as Trevor Bauer's numbers were, Shane Bieber's were better.
Yeah. Next, Shane
now,
Bieber
MVP,
wins.
American League MVP. We've got Jose Abreu from the White Sox, Jose Ramirez from the Indians, and probably the winner, DJ LeMahieu. I think LeMahieu's going to.
LeMahieu had an absolutely fantastic season. I mean,
that's the best you could say it. But
I mean, it's just funny because, when he came over from the Rockies,
I was gonna say another Rockies player that they just.
But it was the Yankees usually signs these huge name players, and nothing against LeMahieu, he was terrible. But I mean, when we signed LeMahieu, it wasn't any huge news.
Yeah,
but
he just signed him to fill in, defensively.
Yeah, I mean, he batted .327 last year, batted .364 this year. It's a holy crap! We got a total diamond in the rough here in this guy.
Free agent this year, and you guys are going to re-sign him.
So they said we're probably going to re-sign him just for Yankees news because I know you guys are wondering about the Yanks. We're going to probably sign LeMahieu. And there's talk that we are going to let Gary Sanchez go and go after the number one catcher in free agency.
Who's that?
That's JT Realmuto.
Yep.
Who is very good.
Yeah. Realmuto isn't he the U.S. catcher for
national team?
Yeah, I thought he was a catcher for our World Baseball Classic.
I think
Piazza.
So.
No, it wasn't Piazza. I don't think so. But I'm about 99.9% sure it was Realmuto. But yeah, the Yanks are going to go after him. But yeah, I love, obviously, LeMahieu. I think he had a great year. I'm probably going to go with Jose Abreu. Little surprised that Luke Voigt's not in that talk.
Yeah, he was leading in home runs for a while, right?
Yeah, he batted the hell out of the ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will go with Jose Abreu out of Chicago.
Okay.
I think he had a great season.
Oh, yeah, he did have a great season. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Except against the Indians.
Well, yeah.
But that's besides the point. National League MVP. This one's very interesting. Manny Machado out of San Diego, Mookie Betts out of Los Angeles, and Freddie Freeman out of Atlanta. And if you have not, we talked about Ross, we talked about how we like Ozzie Albies and Ronald Acuna. By the way, their best player by and far is Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, and he's young, isn't he?
No, he's not terribly young. He's in his early 30s.
He's 31. Yeah, he's 31. Okay, so he's
been in the league since 2010.
So again, little surprising on this one. I didn't see Tatis Jr. Thought that he had a very good season. Granted, the guys they're going against.
Well, you can't say that because Machado's on there.
True, but I mean, hold on. I gotta.
I don't know. I think he was. Machado's average was up.
Yeah, so Machado batted .304 with 16 and 47. Tatis was .277 with 17 and 45.
Machado edges them.
Dude, the freaking those Padres, they're building
the
something.
The Padres are going to be good for a while.
They're building something down there.
Specifically on pitching. Nobody talked about. Everybody was talking about Tatis, and Tatis is the face of the Padres right now, right? But their pitching is actually really good, and it's young.
Yeah, it's really, really young. I think that the Padres are going to be a force to reckon with. I think the Braves and what the Braves are doing, they're going to be a very good team going forward. I mean, I think obviously, the Dodgers will always be up there, but in the National League, there's some teams that
the Marlins.
Okay.
Where'd they come from? I mean, they're not going to be good as consistently as the Dodgers.
I was about to say, I got to see that multiple years in a row before I could say them.
That being said, Don Mattingly got he's a finalist for manager of the year.
Oh, really?
Yes. And by the way, also for the American side, I did want to bring this up. The manager of the year is Kevin Cash, who took out Blake Snell entirely too early.
Oh, that was the stupidest move ever.
Yeah. And
Blake Snell was pitching lights fucking out.
Right.
And he pulled him, and then they lost again.
And then Rick Renteria out of the White Sox, who got fired and replaced by Tony La Russa.
I was about to say, I want to bring up Tony La Russa is back in managing with the White Sox, and the White Sox aren't terrible. So
no, they have very good young talent as well. Luis Robert, Jose Abreu.
Yeah. So we're coming up on the 2 hour mark. I do want to bring up something like moving away from this. Khabib Nurmagomedov has retired, which to me, I don't know, man. All these other guys retire. Like, to me, like, Khabib's a dude, when he says something to me, I take it 100%. Like, he doesn't fuck around. He doesn't.
He's not lying to you.
He doesn't play these games. When he said he never wanted to step foot in that ring without his father again,
that's true. I'll give you that.
I believed him, and to me, it's a bummer. I mean, the dude could obviously still fight.
Yeah, he's not terribly old.
Yeah, he's a huge draw. The one thing that I will say that I'm happy about is it opens that weight class way up, because
it's still a really good weight class.
No, it's a great weight class, but to me it was a boring weight class when Khabib was there, because everybody from like 2 through 7, Khabib had already fucking knocked him off. So I'm like, well, nobody can beat Khabib, so who gives a rat's ass? Khabib's gonna beat everybody. But now it's like, okay, well, now we've opened up, like, Connor and Poirier and Ferguson, and Gaethje.
Oh yeah.
I mean, those 4 alone. I mean, shit, throw a 4-man round robin and the next 4 UFC.
Is that guy that they got out of who's the new guy that they brought in? I don't know if it's that same weight class. They brought him in from not Strikeforce or whatever the other, is it Bellator? Yeah, Bellator.
Yeah.
They brought weight
class? Let me look it up. Granted, I'm looking up divisional rankings. They won't have him. I doubt if he just came over, they won't have him in.
Is it Jens Pulver?
Yes.
So I don't know if you guys know this.
Milicic.
I'm not as deep into the UFC as these guys are. I barely know. The only Bellator fighters I know are former UFC fighters. Ryan Bader, Phil Davis, Lyoto.
Hey, the All-American American. Don't forget about the All-American American. Is he still in Bellator?
Brian Stan?
Michael Chandler. He's lightweight. So that's the same division. Right?
So they got him right now ranked as the number 7 lightweight.
There's a reason they brought him over from Bellator and paid him a shit ton of money to come
over. His last fight, August 7th, he KO'd Vincent Henderson in the first round.
Yeah, he might be pretty good. So you throw him in that mix too. That means, to your point, lightweight is.
Yeah. We took a lightweight.
You said he KO'd Ben Henderson.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen very often. That's actually really impressive.
Yeah, in the first round.
Ben Henderson doesn't get
Spencer Henderson's kind of been.
Oh, he's downfall. Yeah. Him going up and down between welterweight and lightweight, not good.
Yeah. So, but
his thighs are the size of.
But the lightweight to me was boring, because I just knew nobody was going to beat Khabib. I mean, it was fun to watch Khabib go in and do his thing, and it was impressive because you knew you were watching him great. But
yeah.
You knew nobody was going to beat him. Even Gaethje, I was like, okay, cool story. Like, you're a great fighter, but you're not going to beat this dude. Now that he's out, I think it opens up the door wide open. And I think the first 6 months or first quarter of 2021, with Poirier fighting Connor in January, kind of starting this whole what the hell is going to happen in the lightweight. I think that's going to be super, super fun. John Jones moving up to heavyweight. I think that's super fun. Israel Adesanya, I mean, he was going to give, I always butcher his name, Cannonier.
Oh, Cannonier, yeah.
Yeah, the guy who just lost to Whitaker. Like before Whitaker, after Adesanya's last fight, he always calls out the dude. He's like, "Yeah, if he goes in and takes care of Whitaker, then he's my next fight for the title." I was like, "All right, well that's cool." And then the dude went and lost to Whitaker, and I was like, "Okay, well,
what do we do now?"
Yep. Yeah." I was like, "So does Whitaker get another shot, or what the hell?" It's kind of another thing that it really, really sucks when you have one dude at the kind of what we were talking about with the Big Ten, SEC, and everything. When you have that one dude at the top that is just stupid dominant, you're like, all right, cool story. Like, I'll watch your fight, and I'm going to watch you beat the shit out of the dudes, but
and Israel is
it's not as fun.
He just keeps looking better and better and better.
Oh, he's ridiculous.
What I think Adesanya at this point needs that big time, big money fight. You know, it might be at a catch weight. It might be in between weight classes. I don't know if he needs to. I know that I don't know. We need to see, like, he's probably at that point now where he's kind of mowed through that division, and
I think he needs to move up.
Yeah, it's like he needs to
205.
probably.
Yeah. I mean, looking at him, looking at middleweight. I mean, it's him. Robert Whitaker beat him. Paulo Costa beat him. Yoel Romero beat him. Everybody he's beat. So it's kind of anybody who picks the fight, it's gonna be boring. So, but I mean, if you go in and start at we watched him and we'll see what happens. But I mean, Thiago Santos is back.
Yeah.
At light heavyweight. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like Adesanya talk shit and everything. You get in the octagon with Thiago Santos, who is a bad man.
you look at the size of the guys at light heavyweight, and Israel Adesanya is not small. He's 6'4". He's huge, right? Yeah. But they are so big. Like Jan Blachowicz is enormous.
Paulo Costa is a tank too, and
Paulo Costa is a tank as well. But
it's just like to me. Well, yeah, Costa is a tank. It looks like a tank. I'll give him that one. But just like kind of like Jimmy was saying, like Thiago Santos, Dominic Reyes, Blachowicz, even John Jones. Even now, Jones is at that. I mean,
by the way, the fight and Jason Garrett's are about to beat Tom Brady.
I know.
Daniel Jones went straight down the field and scored a touchdown.
I saw that. But like just those dudes standing next to Adesanya can be 6'4" all he wants, but standing next to those dudes, like they look like they could snap him in half. Granted, I know they wouldn't because he's a fantastic striker and he is who he is. But I mean, like, there's some dudes when they step in the ring, you're just like, or the octagon, you're just like, holy, what the?
I think of Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker is like
he's enormous.
He is huge. And it's the dudes that step in that are huge and they're ripped, so they make weight.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the hell? Like, how the hell are you 205 pounds? I'm 250. I'm fat as fuck.
But then, Adesanya, I mean, I don't think he struggles to make weight in that weight class. And I think he'll put on weight, like if he just is like, all right, I'm moving up. It's time to start hitting the weights and getting bigger and getting stronger and eating more and all that stuff. Like he's got the frame to do it, because he's so lean and tall.
And then we get into the argument though of,
will it slow him down?
Well, no, just like with Khabib could have moved up. I mean, he had dominated that entire weight class.
Yeah, and he had a hard time getting down to 155.
He could have definitely. Yeah.
But he could have, but just say, fuck it. Like, I'm going to stay in this weight class. I'm going to dominate you. And I'm going to be the greatest of all time. I'm going to go 29-0 and kiss my ass.
The best thing that he did was hiring a nutritionist.
Well, but
because it saved his life.
But Israel Adesanya, he's champion. He's going to get fights. He's going to get challengers. Fuck it. Fight once or twice a year. Get your championship money. Make your $1 million, and go down as the greatest middleweight of all time. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Like he might be one of those. Granted, seeing him talk and how cocky he is, I think he will want to move up.
Oh yeah.
And try to be that dual belt holder. That
he'll want the big money fight. He'll want the Conor kind of money. Like for him to do that, he's got to kind of cross weight divisions and fight some. Get
by the way, Jimmy Ryan, that pass is incomplete.
Is it pass interference?
No, it said, it's pass interference.
Yeah,
I just saw it incomplete.
It should be. I mean, I just watched it, and the guy ran right into him.
I just saw that the guy said incomplete.
Okay.
Well, the
All right,
NFL is
let's
really
wrap
great
this up
about
for,
college.
All right, so that's the end of the UFC. Going into next week, we have a lot more college football. Let's do real quick. We got to do our picks, boys. Got to do our picks.
We didn't even talk about
We're
those.
going to do them real quick. Ryan, I know it's hard. We'll hit these real quick. Number one game I got, Indiana versus Michigan. Michigan -3 points. Ryan, who you got? 3.5. Sorry, 3.5 points.
Indiana's a favorite? Or Michigan's a favorite?
Michigan's favorite, -3.5.
I'll take Indiana winning straight up.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh, where is it? In Ann Arbor or?
Oh God, you're gonna make me look this shit up. God damn it, Jimmy. We're trying to go quick, and you're just.
I mean, it doesn't. To be honest with you, it doesn't matter because nobody has got home field advantage. There's no fans.
It's at Indiana. At Indiana.
I'm gonna go Michigan.
I'm gonna go Michigan. I'm not gonna give reasoning or anything. I'm just gonna kind of
let's roll
that. All right. So next game, Florida, Georgia. Georgia -3.5. Jimmy.
I am actually gonna take Florida in this one.
I got Florida as well.
Minus what?
-3.5.
Yeah, Florida.
It was incomplete, by the way. It looked doing the replay. It looked like a good call.
I hate Georgia, but I want to take Georgia. Fuck it, I'll take the Bulldogs. Give me the Bulldogs. I think they're going to step up. I think that defense is going to stifle Florida, and Georgia will do enough on the running game.
The only way I think Georgia wins that game is if because Florida's defense is not as good as it has been, but their offense is still really good.
Yeah. All right. Texas versus West Virginia. Texas is only 6.5 point favorites.
Texas. Sam Ellinger.
Give me Texas.
Minus 6.5?
6.5, yeah.
6.5? Yeah, Texas.
All right. Jimmy, you done typing? I don't want to
Yep.
Okay. Pac-12, they're back. USC, Arizona State. USC is 10.5 point favorites. I'm going to take Arizona State. I'm going to take Arizona State. I love that. I love that quarterback. I love him. I love him. I think Arizona State's going to get it done against USC.
I'm with you.
I agree. And if they don't, it's going to be close, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so second to last game, one of the biggest ones of the week, non-Power 5, number 9 BYU versus number 21 Boise State. BYU is -2.5.
Ooh.
Jimmy.
BYU.
Ryan's got BYU. Jimmy.
I'm gonna go BYU. Their quarterback is playing lights out.
Give me BYU. That quarterback Wilson, he's fantastic. I think he's gonna be up there at the Heisman. He might get invited to the Heisman. He's fantastic.
Yep. By the way, another
against
BYU
BYU
team we have
before
not talked about that has an outside shot to the playoffs.
BYU,
I think this is their last. I don't know. Do they play UCF? I think, or no? Who do they play?
No, they're done after this.
This is their last game.
Well, no, they're as of complicating games.
Yeah.
After this, BYU, I'm pulling up right now. They've got Northern Arizona and San Diego State after this. Yeah. They're going to go undefeated. They're going to go 10-0.
Yeah. I would love to see a Cincinnati BYU game before
that. That would be fantastic.
That would be phenomenal.
Okay, so and then we're going to end it. The big game of the week. Number 4 Notre Dame. Oh, I'm sorry. Number 1 Clemson at number 4 Notre Dame. Trevor Lawrence is out. Clemson is a 5.5 point favorite. Jimmy, we're going to start with you. What do you got?
I'm going to go Clemson. I still think they're a very good football team, and Notre Dame's not a bad football team, but I still think they can cover 5.5 points.
Notre Dame shocks the world.
Ooh.
Notre Dame shocks the world, goes undefeated in the ACC and makes the playoff.
You're going to go with the Dame, huh? That is, I like that pick. Fuck you. Clemson blows them out of the water. I think Clemson wins. I bet you, I'm going to say Clemson wins by 14 plus points. I think that quarterback's got it under it. I think they're going to lean on Travis Etienne. And Notre Dame's bread and butter is running the ball. And like you said, I forgot his first name, but Breece.
Ryan Breece, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to wreak havoc in that Notre Dame backfield. And I think Clemson smacks the piss out of them.
Let's see it.
That's all we got for this week. looking forward to this week in college football. I think it's going to be fun. Hope everybody had a happy Halloween. And we're coming towards the end of the season. It's funny because you guys just started.
We just started, boys. Yeah,
We only
eventually
got
the
4.
Big 12 is going to end. All we got to talk about is Big 10 and Pac-12.
No, because you guys end the same week you do because you guys are only playing like 3 games. So, sorry.
It's very true.
Nice try, Jim. Yeah, that's all
I didn't hear any word you said. So anyway, Big 10.
You didn't need to.
It's nothing important, Jim. You're not important. You're still wearing a Kuwait sweater from 2009. Jesus Christ.
This is from 2016, sir.
Whatever, dude. Yeah, that's all you got. Closing words from you little bastards.
Stay safe out there, boys and girls. That's all I got.
Really, stay safe. That's what you got. Not like
hey, Corona, man. That shit's running rampant, dog.
That's true. That's true. By the way, every NFL player that's got COVID that's come back has sucked ass. Look at the stats. It's crazy. I'm just saying. Go vote, sons of bitches. Go vote.
Peace. If you have not voted.
Go vote. See you guys. I'm out.